Workout review. Hello everyone, today we're going to go through my epic workout so you also can look epic gamer. Someone posted this on my Reddit, so dude, that looks photoshopped. I don't even, is that real? Maybe not. I don't really feel comfortable doing like a before and after. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about my workout, so hopefully you guys can get inspired as well. I made a workout video a year and a half ago, and so I wanted to talk about what has changed, what has improved, what has worked, what didn't work, or if anything's changed at all. First off, let's go through my setup, my workout setup, which is the same goddamn setup that I've always had. And here's my gym setup. Egger spots me. Thank you very much for doing that. The only difference, I put in my thingy-schmingy, and I put in my weights. I keep them behind our couch, so we don't have to see them. Like, I don't want to make our living room messier than it is. That's all you need, baby. I use these weights called Power Block. It's the same one I always had, but a friend of mine gifted me the newer ones. I refuse to buy the newer ones. I don't know why I'm so cheap, guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. I could have just... They kept breaking and bending. I went to a welder guy and he fixed them, but they didn't really fix them. I had to use like a screwdriver to pry them open every time, and I was just losing a bunch of time in my workout. So I'm glad the newer ones are way better of the Power Blocks. It's just a way so you can change the weights really quickly. I personally really enjoy working out with dumbbells, so considering a whole rack of dumbbells will probably set you back a couple thousand. This is definitely like a cheaper version. I hope once I'm more settled in, I can actually justify investing in some equipment because, yeah, since I'm supposed to move abroad, I just haven't. My workout is pretty much more or less the same as I used to. I've only changed up a couple of things here and there. I think I used to do 5 days a week, but I've actually moved down to 4 days a week. I start off, like most people, with chest. Gotta start off with chest. It's the best. So this would be my Monday. I start off with the regular bench press. I'm struggling to get the... For once, I'm filming myself. I can't do it. I actually maxed out my dumbbells. That was an amazing moment. Marcy had to spot me. The thing with dumbbells is they're quite hard to get up. Like, to get to the position, this position. To do that on your own when you're maximizing, it's really difficult. So I have to psych myself up a little bit every time. I do this pathetic push with my leg, like, that's not helping. It's more about getting in the right position, but yeah. I was so proud when I hit my new record, and then I Googled, like, how good is that? And it basically said, like, for your weight group, intermediate. And I was like, what the fuck? I expected to read, like, God mode or Giga Chat or some shit. So it became clear to me that I need to put on more weight, to lift more weight. So that's why I've been trying to bulk up more. I've always been quite skinny, so... Yeah, you can do one more. Yeah, let's go. Perfect form. I definitely been pushing myself more. I think if I had to show my progress, like, on a graph, if this is where I was when I made my video a year ago, I think I've kind of, like... It went up a little bit, and then I kind of, like, became a bit more lazy. I just did my workout for the sake of it, and I did that for a long time with the goal of just being consistent, you know, getting my workout done. I wasn't really pushing myself that hard, but I was also okay with that. But only until recently, I've really started pushing myself more than I've ever have, and that's actually been really, really fun. I try to... Here I am, one more rep. If I can do one more rep, there will be world peace, and everyone will be happy. And it's like, no, sorry, I can't do it. But yeah, so I do chest, I do incline chest, which is good too, and then I do a third set of chest where I don't go down all the way. After that, I do shoulders, which when you're already tired from chest, shoulder is quite difficult, but it still feels amazing. I'm really struggling. It's kind of funny. I never seen myself work out before. Oh yeah, and then after that I do a superset where I combine, oh yeah, look at that. These, I don't know what they call this, tricep, and then lateral raises, I guess, like that. I guess I'm resting a little bit in between. but I try to make it into one set. I don't want to get too tired. I've finally come to a point where I'm more comfortable pushing myself. Before, if I ever felt like I'm pushing myself so I could almost throw up, which can happen, I think, especially when you're building muscle, it can happen easier than you think. And that's just not a place I want to be. I want to feel good with my workout, but I know kind of where my limit is. So if I do feel tired, I'm not too bothered just stopping a little bit, you know? Yeah, and that's pretty much my Monday, I guess the first day of my workout. It takes me about an hour more or less to complete. I would say probably 50 minutes, and then I do around 8-minute abs afterwards to wrap it all up. If you're still here listening, could you guys do me a favor? So I was supposed to promote the new G Fuel tub. Look at that, it's awesome. It's by the artist for Tuber Simulator and Legend of the Brofist. If you get this new tub, there's a 30% discount if you enter the code pewdiepie, and you can also get this new shaker. Very nice. Love G Fuel. It's the greatest. I drink every day. 10% muscle increase, of course. The pewdiepie flavor is just so damn good. Like, there's so many great flavors in G Fuel, but it's also the most relevant flavor. I deleted my video where I was promoting it because I didn't like the video. So if you guys can just buy it from this promo, so hopefully G Fuel doesn't notice that I deleted the video. Okay, thank you. Enter code pewdiepie. I appreciate it. It's good drink, okay? It's not a pre-workout, it's just epic drink, epic gamer drink. Moving on to the next day, number 2. Tuesday is leg day, baby. I do squat with my perfect form, okay? I don't want to hear anyone complaining about my form because I don't care. 4 sets of squat, and then I do 4 sets of deadlift, barefooted deadlift. Don't drop it on your toes. It's kind of awkward doing deadlift with dumbbells. I'm not a huge fan, but hey, it does the trick. And oh mama, do I get tired from it. I know it's a bit cringe, but I did film myself. No one likes leg day. If you like leg day, you're lying, okay? But so I try to make it quick but intense, just to get it out. After deadlift, I do the split squat thing, lunges, that's it. 3 sets of that, and then I do the calf raises, where you go on your toes. Blah, blah, bling, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm pretty much done, you know? I'm not that, you know, legs, yeah, sure, it's done. It's done. I don't care more. First 2 days are quite intense. That's why I rest on the 3rd day. And on the 3rd day, I should be feeling really like I've worked out. I should be feeling my legs, and I should be feeling my upper body still. It's a good day to rest there, I think, because my whole body's pretty much in pain at that point. But it's a wonderful feeling. If you work out regularly, especially, you don't. It's hard to get that. But if you work out to the point where your whole body is literally in pain, that's a great reminder that you put in the effort, you put in the work, you put in the hours, man. It's a good kind of pain to have. I love it. Then on day 4, I start off a little bit slower again, where I do pulls. And the great thing about working out at home is I can be shirtless and it's not cringe. So I start off with single arm rows, then I do 2 arm rows, then I do overhead extension, and then I do double arm rows but reverse grip. Then I do biceps, and then I do hammer curls. That's probably my easiest workout. It's kind of hard finishing up with bicep and hammer curls because you're kind of tired at that point. But what I find to really elevate my workout is my Spotify playlist, where I listen to a bunch of like industrial techno or like metal or heavy metal or black metal mixed with some really cringy music like Euro techno, Euro pop, I don't know what to call it, from like 2000 with like DJ Alice and shit like that. Because you want to start off with the dunk dunk dunk, like really heavy shit, but then once you get tired and you need to pull through those last few sets, you put on that Euro disco techno shit, that real cringy music. But once you're, it sounds so cringe, but once you're there doing those bicep curls and that, do you think you're better off alone? You're just like, yeah. It works, okay? It fucking works. 20% muscle increase, 10% from G Fuel. I guess that's the thing with this graph too. Like, I used to listen to like podcasts and maybe YouTube videos sometimes, just like whatever in the background, and I don't think that makes you as focused as if you put on music that you really like. It really motivates you, and like it forces you to kind of push yourself a bit more. And I gotta be honest, like my goal with my workout is to just be consistent more than anything. So while I am, really pushing myself now, I am allowing myself to understand that even if I do later on go down again, that's totally fine as long as I'm staying consistent with it. Because that's the long-term goal is for me to just keep going no matter what. I don't want to fall off, and I'm not planning to. I'm like, my goal is to keep this on forever because I just love it so much. When I'm in a workout where you're so tired that you literally have nothing else left in you, and all you can do is really just like, I didn't film it because it's not authentic, but you push yourself to a point where all you have left is to just scream. That to me is a beautiful moment because it means you're pushing yourself to your limit. You're fully concentrated in what you're doing. You're overcoming yourself. As someone that's quit drinking, I quit nicotine. So those are usually things that makes you feel like, oh, dopamine, good. But that moment when you're pushing yourself to your limit while working out, it gives me that same sort of almost spiritual feeling, I could say. I love it. It's very addicting. It's just a pure moment of concentration of pain, I would say. I don't know what to call it. Then, after I do my pole exercises, day 5 is... I used to do leg on day 5, but I just feel like I don't need to do legs twice a week. That's just me. I think my legs look just fine, and I'm not particularly that passionate about legs. So what I like to do is sometimes I do kendo, which I found to be a really fun kind of cardio, to be honest. It kind of tires you out pretty well, and it's fun to try out something different. I've been following like tutorials online. I'm sure kendo bros are just like, he's doing everything wrong. But I really enjoy it. Before that, I used to do other stuff as well. I was jumping rope. I kind of see it as I can do whatever I want day. And I do that for literally just 30 to 40 minutes. And that's a really good workout. And it's really fun to try out something different as well. I'm not entirely sure I will keep that up, to be honest. But I'm also okay with that. Then on my last day, day 6, I really like to finish strong, and I do a workout that's a sort of a combination of the entire week, except leg, of course, because leg is cringe. I do chest, I do shoulder, I do bicep, I do all the epic stuff, and it's my favorite workout. Yeah, you definitely feel it the day after, which is really nice. So that's why I rest on the day after. There's a lot of stuff like small tips and little mindset stuff that you might think, well, that's not going to make a difference, and it probably isn't. But I find myself to be, with workout, it's so easy to make excuses for yourself, like, oh, I'm a bit tired today, or oh, yesterday I had blah, 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 or today was a long day, or blah, blah, blah. You come up with all these excuses of why you shouldn't work out. I don't want to sound like toxic, like you have to work out. It's more like, it's easy to get in that mindset, so I like to have other stuff to kind of, it seems silly, but they help counteract those sort of self-pitying thoughts, I guess. One thing I have that really, really helps is my watch, because I can time my sets and I can see my heartbeat to make sure I'm not working too hard or I'm working enough, you know? And as an epic minimalist, you might ask, how do you justify having a watch? I try to use my phone. I try using an app to time my reps, but it's dangerous to be on your phone while you're working out because you're just, it's so easy to, oh, notification, blah, 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 start talking to people. It still happens, but it's better not to touch your phone during your workout. So that's why I like to have my watch, and it's really, really helpful to have that. It's the sole reason I have this watch, is just for that, so I don't touch my phone during my workout. Another good thing about it is that I can time my workout so I know how long it takes, to know that I'm not slacking or being sloppy. And also, you know, when you work out on your own at home, it's kind of hard to start sometimes, especially when you're in your living room. You're not in the right mindset right away, and you kind of start dragging. You're like, I'll start soon. But if I start the timer on my watch, it's like, no, now I have to start. Another thing I do is I drink pre-workout. Sometimes I even drink G Fuel, just because I know G Fuel is not a pre-workout. But it's more like, okay, I drank it, now I have to work out. I did something, now I have to start my workout. Because sometimes I just find myself wasting time, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Of course, no substances, no steroids, smeroids. That goes completely against my whole philosophy on workout. If other people want to do it, great, good for you. But me, nah, no thanks. I used to write down my weights in this book, but I don't really feel like I need to do that anymore. It's really good to do that. I definitely recommend doing that, but I feel like I know my weights and I don't really have to. But yeah, going on before with like making excuses, it's easy to start feeling pity, like, oh no, I shouldn't, I'm blah blah blah. And I really don't want to promote some sort of toxic like push yourself too hard mindset, because I'm not about that at all. I just know that it's easy to make excuses sometimes, and I think everyone is different. Some people don't feel good by pushing themselves, but I always know I feel way worse if I skip something as opposed to just pushing myself through it, maybe at 80% or 70% instead of doing nothing. Feeling pity over yourself is kind of a pointless emotion. It's not going to help you with anything, really. So I think it's good to overcome that. It's the pain that gives you the strength after all. It's kind of funny how it works with that, not just from the typical gym, like no pain, no gain. It works the exact same with your mind. Some philosophical notes. There's a famous quote from Socrates that says, "No citizen has a right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. What a disgrace it is for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strengths of which his body is capable," Socrates. I think this quote is kind of taken from a time where there was a lot of war and Greece needed to be defended, so I would take it with a grain of salt. But I think also the way we live now, especially sort of the mind precedes the body. Our body is just sort of a suit for our brain to travel in, when in reality they're deeply connected. And to experience growth and pain in both ways combined, I think is something, especially now where there's no practical use in any of it, is a wonderful thing. You know, everyone's canvas is different, everyone's possibility is different, but it's what you do with it that matters, you know. A lot of people look at workout and in philosophy with the idea of Nietzsche's Übermensch, but for me it's more of rising above Zarathustra, the idea of the last man. Like I said before, I think we live in a time where the mind precedes the body, and I don't want to live in a way where I'm always comfortable, where I'm not taking risk or pushing myself, and just simply keeping warm, as it said. And I feel like my results with my workout doesn't matter as much as the point of me pushing myself. And I think that goes for everything, really. I don't remember if it's Aristotle or Socrates, but they basically lay out the idea about virtue, that it's in what we're doing, it's not what we have done. And I think that's something really nice, because especially with people that work out, I notice there's a feeling of more. I need to gain more muscle. I need to become more strong, or I need to become more built. When in reality, that way you'll never be satisfied. The point of working out, and I think this should be motivating for people that maybe haven't started or want to get started, as long as you're doing it, that's all that matters. You're putting in the same effort as anyone else who's at the gym or whatever. The point is that you're doing it, not that you haven't reached your goal yet. I would really focus on that, and I think that's such a better mindset that it works really well for me. Like, I don't think about what I haven't achieved yet. I'm just really happy once I do it. And that's why I try to work out, in the sense that consistency is what matters more than anything. But I've really, really enjoyed pushing myself more lately. I find that to be really, really fun. I'm enjoying my workout more now than ever. It's probably the closest thing to any sort of spiritual feeling that I could achieve. I love it. And I hope other people can experience it as well. So, what are you waiting for? Get on out there. You got nothing to lose. It's good for your health and your mind. Anytime you work out, you feel better. And it doesn't have to be strength building anyway. Like I said, on my 4th day, I do whatever. Like kendo, that's a good workout. Even just jumping rope or doing a sport, you know, it's always better doing something than nothing. And I guess that's another thing that a lot of the Stoics talked about as well, especially with workout, that whoever is doing some sort of workout, and they figured this out thousands of years ago, which is that whoever's doing regular physical workout is living a better life, because you are making better choices as a consequence, and it's better for your health as well. I don't want anyone to feel guilty or feel shitty about not exercising, but I think it's always better to do a little bit than nothing. And then you can slowly, if you start to feel comfortable, then you can start pushing yourself a little bit. But start simple. It doesn't have to be that much. It could be just a couple minutes a day, you know? If you start looking at it like, oh, I need to work out because I need to be in this type of body shape or whatever, then you're missing the point. The point should be, my goal is to keep being consistent with it and doing it every day. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out the G Fuel, guys. So you get 30% off. I really appreciate it. And that's it. Bye-bye. Book review. Book review. We're back, baby. We're back at last. I read book. Now I tell you. First off, we have I'm a Cat by Soseki Natsume. It's a Japanese writer who spent some time in England, and then he came back, and then he published this in a magazine. Only, I think, the first chapter. He wasn't planning to make it into this beast that it is today. But people liked it so much that he kept publishing it, and yeah, maybe that's how you were supposed to read it, just like in parts here and there. It is the story told from a cat. That's what I knew about it going in. And it's supposed to reflect on the Meiji period in Japan, which is transitional period between the westernization of Japan. At least that's what I thought. So I made one of these to make it simple. So this is what I read. What I expected, some weird Meiji period stuff, you know, some commentary about it. Some cat stuff, some sexy cats, maybe, I don't know. The cat's name is Chibi, so I expected like a cute little chibi cat. Here's what I got. I wonder if anyone's read this book is actually going like, yeah, that's about right. So we have some boomer hitting on his wife. This pretty much summarizes it right here. The cat kind of just glancing. We got some jam. We got a fat cat. We got angry Japanese men and something about a glass bowl. I don't really get it. Guys, check out New G Fuel while we're at it. So this book is a satire. It's a very old satire, but that doesn't stop it from being enjoyable, just like Don Quixote or any other book that is well written, you know. The fact that this is Soseki's first novel is incredible because it's, you know, it's up there. After reading this, it feels like a hidden classic, like a hidden gem. That's what I thought, at least, because I've never heard about it before, and I've done that mistake in the past where just because I haven't heard of a book before, that doesn't mean no one else has. I'm like, no one's talking about this book with a Nobel Prize awarded writer, but no, that's not the case. But I did look into it, and it clearly left an impact on in Japanese culture. So the Japanese title is Wagahai Neko, so I am a cat. Wagahai being a pronoun that I thought is so unusual that it doesn't normally exist. So Bowser uses it, for example, here, referring to himself in high regard. Same with the cat in Persona 4! Soseki also is depicted in the anime Boys Something, I don't remember. And he's also in Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney! Look at it. Uncanny. So he clearly left an impact on Japanese culture. What's the book about then? Well, it's about a bunch of characters, mainly just speaking to each other. That's look at it. Pretty much it. There's no real story. So he clearly left an impact on Japanese culture. Who just observes these characters communicating. Well, it's about a bunch of characters. The main character is Chibi's owner, just speaking to which each is Mr. Sneeze. There's his wife, Mrs. Sneeze. There's Rochef, the poet or the artist, just Coulson, the scientist, and then there is Waver House, the asshole, prick, which is, and there's a couple others too, but I love the names of the characters, by the way, they're so good. The story is something about a burglary, and they steal their jam. Mr. Sneeze complains about his wife constantly. He goes to report the crime, and then a bunch of kids start being annoying, and then it ends really bleakly and sadly. The story is not the most interesting thing here. Where this book shines is really when the characters are communicating. methodical, and it feels like you're almost like a stage play where everyone is interacting in the same space in this room, talking to each other, and it's being observed by the cat. And to me, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy reading so much, because you can immerse yourself in discussion and topics and ideas that transpires time and culture and place. You feel like you are there contemplating the same thoughts that the characters are and being part of the discussion almost. And it's just, I don't think there's any other medium that can properly do that. I feel like this book style of writing reminds me of Dostoevsky a lot. I remember there's a part in Dostoevsky's The Idiot where they are talking about public execution, and I remember reading that and just feeling so part of it and contemplating this weird concept that we used to have in a way I never would have thought about before. And I mean, obviously it's not like it's just random things, but I think that's what makes reading fun to me. I don't necessarily care that much what happens to characters and different things like that. I think it's more fun to share ideas, and this book is packed with that, and especially with the idea of the execution. This book talks about the mechanics of hanging very similarly for a great length, and you know, it's not like I went in wanting to read about that, but it was very interesting and fun to follow, and nevertheless. The book is also obviously commenting about a lot of Western literature and culture, which I find very fun to hear a Japanese perspective on. There was a story that I've even brought up on my own on this channel, which is the story, the ancient Greek story of the writer that tried to escape his prophecy that he was going to die inside a house. I don't know if you guys remember or watched the video, but it's so funny. I think they said in the book that he was a writer, though, that he went out to write to avoid dying. But then there was an eagle flying by who wanted to drop a turtle that he was holding onto a rock to smash open his shell. Well, he thought he saw the writer's thick head, because according to this book, writers are just so thick-headed. He dropped the turtle on the head, and that's how the writer died. A lot of random stuff like that being shared in this book, which I don't know. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fun. I think a lot of people probably, at least what I expected too, is, you know, being more focused on the cat. There are some bits here and there where the cat describes typical cat-like behavior, like why they wash themselves a certain way, or what they do for exercise, or why they meow and other cat-like behavior. But it's explained in a sense that if there was a human explaining it with perfect logic, even though there's these things that make no sense why cats do, and probably at least from a human perspective at least, you still get to follow it, and those bits are great. I really enjoyed those, and I think that's another reason why I enjoy entering the mindset of this cat. It was very fun. This kind of crazy introspection where what they're saying doesn't really make sense, but you're still in their mind following it, so it's still fun anyway. So yeah, you just follow the characters along in this book with different small events happening here and there. There's not much to talk about. I think, you know, I gave some examples of it. It finishes very bleakly and darkly about predicting the future of Japan and their culture with this shift that they're going through, that there will be no marriage in the future, which there's certainly less of, and that the rise of individualism is the cause of this, which is definitely a case, considering this was written 100 years ago. But then again, I don't know, you know, maybe the signs were already there back then. And that everyone in the future will commit suicide, which I'm thankful hasn't happened at least, but, you know, it's definitely a problem. I would rate this book 4 out of 5. Very good. I would be cautious to recommend this book, though. I think there's a lot of other books, I think, that you can read before it. But if you haven't heard of it, then, yeah, maybe it's something to check out. Next book we have, quite random, actually. It's 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, which is a billionaire, investor in PayPal, or creator, founder, early investor in Facebook. That's what I knew, at least. And I know he's the guy that sued Gawker into non-existence. He's a controversial figure, but I think most billionaires are, to be fair. My point is, I don't really know much about him besides that. This book was recommended to me by a friend, and I have no interest in what it's about, but I thought it's fun to read different stuff sometimes. Sometimes when I get into reading, I don't really care what I'm reading. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll check that out. Sure, well, whatever. This is the book on startups. It says notes on startups, but as far as I understand, this is like the Bible of startups, according to people. And I guess that's a topic that I'm not necessarily that interested in. Most things I hear about startups sounds kind of cringeworthy and horrible, That whole culture of Silicon Valley just seems something I don't like. And even though I didn't really find myself like, oh, I hate it while reading it, when I was writing down my thoughts on the book, they all tended to be quite negative, I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it's just the overall culture around these type of things that probably makes me look at it in an unfair light. I'm not saying this is a bad book by any means, but just I feel like I skipped a couple of steps. Maybe I should explain what the book is. Sorry. I guess that's the thing. The book isn't very structured. It's just random ideas kind of here and there sprinkled out. It almost feels like Peter is holding back with a lot of things. I think he's a little crazy, but he doesn't want to let people know how crazy he is. I definitely felt like he was holding back reading this. But the main gist of this book, and if I had to summarize it with one thing, is that, okay, what I read was 0 to 1. What I expected, a bunch of money stuff, and I have no idea what I expected, to be honest. I just put random shit. What I got was something about the Unabomber, AI, monopolies, and founders being important. Kind of random, right? I guess that's what I meant. There's a lot of just random thoughts that I think he's interested in being shared. But the main gist of this book is the idea that if you want to go from 0 to 1, if you want a startup that really makes it the banger, you want to come up with something that isn't just replicating what other businesses are doing, but something that's unique in a sense that it highly stands out. He starts off by making a case for monopolies, which I thought was interesting, at least. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's fun to hear different thoughts. Most people, we're all taught growing up that monopolies are bad and it's better for competition if there's many businesses. According to Peter, what this just does is that it squeezes companies dry for making a profit, and that prohibits them from doing bigger ideas and bigger things. Businesses like restaurants and businesses like airlines have famously really low profit margins because they're so competitive. So even though they're massive businesses, there's not much else you can do for that. I guess there's a case there. We're still flying the same airplanes from the 70s, right? Hasn't been any innovation and change. Maybe that's a symptom of it. Just a random thought in my head, but then again, they buy the planes from other companies, so I'm not sure. I don't know, but that's an example of it. He brings up Google as a secret monopoly. If you ask Google, hey, are you a monopoly? You can't be a monopoly. Google just go like, hey, Yahoo, you want to go? Yahoo exists, okay? I'm not a monopoly, but there's like Alta Vista right there. You guys can check it out. So it is, Google has monopoly. It just doesn't want anyone to know about it. And that makes it possible for Google to do a bunch of different things. And whether that's good or bad, I think, is not very clear, at least. And the way to become a monopoly, like Google, is to have a product that is just so good that you are not going to want to go anywhere else, which is pretty much the case. We use Google because they are by far the best option because they invested an ungodly amount of becoming that product. I think probably the more interesting thing in the book, if there's one thing I had to take from it, is the idea that if you want to create a business that goes from 0 to 1, like a business that makes it, you have to answer Peter Thiel's question that he asked if you want to hire someone, which is, what is one view you hold on an important matter shared by few other people? I'm not sure entirely if that was the quote. What is something that you know that other people don't? I guess you could phrase it. And if you can answer that, then you have the foundation of a business that could really make it big. Obviously, airlines, restaurants, wherever there is, they will always be profitable businesses and very successful in these areas, but the businesses that really take off and you make a ton of money on, if that's your goal, they are the ones that don't just improve, but rather change the world. Kind of like Facebook did, which Peter was an early investor in. Same with PayPal, really. PayPal's goal, I think, was to become an online currency. That was their original goal, which, I mean, Bitcoin came along and did the job properly, I think. I think it's a good example of something that a lot of people knew, but not most people, I think. But a lot of people knew there would be a digital currency in the future. Obviously, PayPal becomes something else, but I think it's a good example of that, of answering that question of what is something that you know that a lot of people don't. And that's how you create a successful startup, which I think, yeah, I agree with that. That's a good advice. It's not bad. but I will have to rate it 2 out of 5 because I think he's holding back, and I think it felt a bit random, to be honest. I would like to hear more from Peter. I wouldn't mind hearing if he makes something else. Next book. This is the book that truly matters. This is the book that changed my life. Okay? The Useful Knots book. How to tie the 25 plus most practical knots. Hell yeah. This is what it's all about. Why did I buy this book and not just look up online? I thought it could be nice for once to not stare at a screen, okay? So I used to sail a lot when I was younger, and I used to know all these knots. And then I realized I completely forgot them. I gotta know my knots. Check this out. So in Sweden, the way they would teach us this knot, I don't know what it's called in English, but we would have a lake, right? So if you go with a boat and you want to tie up your boat to a round object or something, you have a lake, and they would say, here comes the dragon, and it goes under the lake, and then he grabs the bunny. This is supposed to be the bunny. I'm like, what do you mean bunny? That makes no sense. There's no bunny. And then he goes back into the, what do you mean? He didn't grab anything. But there you go. It's a beautiful knot. I will never forget you again. Very strong knot. I guess that's the thing with the book. It tells you the philosophy of knots. You know, any idiot can tie a knot. But the goal is to tie a knot that is fast, strong, and also easy to untie. That's the goal of knot. I mean, this is the easiest knot, but it's so good. A lot of times with boats, you want to tie around a cylindrical object. Beautiful knot. Beautiful knot. It's strung this way. It's strung this way. Very good knot. Love this knot. I don't know what they're called in English. Roban! I remember I'll never forget this knot. You do the thing. Alright? It's if you want to tie 2 ropes together, they would always make us do this. This is like one of the most basic knots. So pretty too. Pretty knot. Actually, it will hold! Ah! Which is good if you want to extend your tump, as we call it in Sweden. Another thing at the end of your rope, if you're sailing especially, you don't want the rope to fall through the winch or the thing. So you would always have to tie something at the end of it, and I would always do the 8. I love the 8. Look at that 8. That's a nice 8. That rope ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Useful knots, guys. Check it out. Book review. Last book, guys. The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I've read another book from him in the past called Never Let Me Go, which was kind of interesting. It was a weird one. I also read The Sleeping Giant from him, which I hate. I don't ever want to think about that book. But I decided to give it another go because I saw the cover. Never judge book by cover, they say. Well, I do it, okay? I thought it looked nice, minimalistic. I am an epic minimalist. So what I expected was that it's a story about a butler, and what I got was this, and I will explain this. That's the actual, the original cover for the book. The book is old as hell, okay? I had no idea. It's not like it matters, but it's more like I thought it was a new book, and it turned out to be an old book. I don't want to read an old book. The way I knew it was an old book was because I googled the title eventually, and this old movie showed up, and I'm like, what? They made it... It's made from a movie? It's like, no, the book came first. With Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson. So yeah, the story follows a butler. His name is Mr. Stevens, and he reflects on his past when he was serving as a butler in the house called Kensington Hall, I think. Mr. Stevens' care is anime level of dedication to his work of being a butler. It's all he cares about, and he aspires to be the greatest butler there is. And it's very fascinating to hear him talk about how seriously he takes this job as a butler, and sort of how this has been something passed down from his father, who was also a butler. And it's seen as something very noble when people really dedicate their life to their craft. But the more you read, you sort of realize that him wanting to be a butler, the best butler there is, has come with a great price of a lot of things. For example, his relationship with his father, him sacrificing his morals with who he serves as a butler in the past, and maybe most importantly, he sacrificed his own happiness and possibility of finding true love. These are things and sacrifices that he's made but seems completely oblivious to, but as a reader, it's obvious. this book is so damn well written. Kazuo is a Nobel Prize awarded author, and it's very clear reading this just because you feel like you are reading the words from a butler. There's never a doubt in my mind that that's the case. It's written in this utmost British posh, eloquently spoken. I can't do it, but you know what I mean. Like this super posh. I feel like I should read this book in a suit. It's very captivating just by that. But going in finally on what I meant with this picture is what I feel a lot of times, especially reading his other book, Never Let Me Go, and other British authors too, like Virginia Woolf. I appreciate them, and I appreciate that they're great books, but I can't stand them. I don't know why I even read them, because they are so dreary. My God, everything is so difficult. When there's characters and emotions between them that can't get expressed properly. I appreciate melancholy, but this is just too much, man. Just say how you feel. Why can't you just... I understand these are complicated emotions, and the fact that you're even able to depict them in fiction is impressive, but I hate it. Stop it. It reads like... That's what I get out of it, okay? Stop it. 3 out of 5. I give it 3 out of 5. That's all the books for this month. I wanted to continue for next month. I've already started reading Blood Meridian, but then... so I thought we'd do that for next month, because I can already tell it's amazing. But Elden Ring came out, and I just dedicated my life to that. But I'm excited to get back into it. This is what some people say it's the greatest American novel. It's a Western anti-Western, if that's interesting to you. But yeah, excited for more book review. Leave a like and smash like, and smash like for more, and like smash like, and I see you smash like. See you next time. Bye bye. All your favorite Instagram influencers, Marvel superheroes, have been drinking the Kool-Aid. Master Chief, Johnny Bravo, Goku, they're all on steroids. I feel like if you mention this, a lot of people will go, well, obviously, duh. Like, everyone in the fitness bubble knows it. But if you think about, in general, how many people know about steroid usage and how common it is, I don't know. Do people know? I don't know. I didn't used to know, and I worked out. You tell someone that doesn't lift that The Rock is most likely on steroids. I mean, the guy's like what? He's approaching 50 years to pack that kind of muscle. Even with steroids, you know, it's damn impressive what he's able to accomplish. And the response is just no. He puts in the work. He puts in the hours. Okay. Yeah. No, obviously that's what I'm saying. But I'm also saying he dips his fingers in the vitamin gummy bear jar. Maybe he takes 2. Maybe he even takes 3 gummy bears. Who knows? We don't know because he doesn't talk about it. That's the whole point. There's no transparency. And that's why I think it's important, and not to, you know, make myself high and mighty, but I do think it's important for someone like me who has an audience that isn't necessarily into fitness to bring attention to this kind of thing. Because what I find is that in the industry, it seems like most people in some way are engaging with steroids. Everyone sees it. It's obvious to all these people, but a lot of people don't know about it. You even get people saying, like, Arnold, he never did steroids. What are you talking about? Like, bro, he openly talks about it. You just can't get that physique. If it looks unnatural, it is unnatural. That's a good... And if you think that, you know, this kind of steroid use is the thing of the past, I got bad news for you. It's probably more prevalent than ever. You go on Instagram and you got 18-year-olds looking like fucking orcs. Again, if it ain't looking natural, it ain't natural. And I don't even necessarily have a problem with it. It is the lack of transparency that I have an issue with, especially when these Instagram influencers are selling their epic workout routines. Bro, just use my code and you can also look like me. Like, shut the fuck up. But what I do find as well, luckily, is that a lot of great lifters and a lot of YouTubers are open about talking about these things. This guy, Noel, made this video, which you might have seen. It kind of went viral, I think.
I'm not a natural bodybuilder, and I have a major problem with other influencers that are not as transparent about it. Not only does it create false hope through naturally unattainable results, it discourages many people from changing their lives. It also risks people's health for their financial gain. These same influencers enrich their lives by promoting and selling you their diet and training plans, making it seem naturally attainable to reach their chemically enhanced physiques when it's not.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I think he summarized it. That's pretty much my whole point of the video. But actually, I think what bothers me the most is that the people that really should be honest, because the thing is, there's always going to be Instagram scumbags. The whole concept behind selling them ideas to improve their bodies and, I don't know, in any way, it's existed forever, it feels like. But you have companies like Disney and Marvel producing these superheroes, expanding their muscles to fit the part in a very short amount of time. And I think to start off, Chris Hemsworth is a great example. He's an absolute beefcake. Can you even be mad at him for using steroids? Like, people want to see him big. You see all the comments on this Instagram post and like, I can't wait to fucking see how big your muscles are on Thor. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Like, can you really blame him? Actors and entertainers put their health aside for the sake of entertainment. We want it, they provide it. You know, can you really be mad about it? But what I don't like about Chris, especially, is that he's selling this app, where here it looks natural, by the way. That's perfectly attainable. Train, eat, and live better with Chris Hemsworth's team. Like, what? I gotta pay monthly to get his workout routine? Like, get the fuck out of here. Am I missing something here? Like, how many teenage Marvel fans do you think are buying this just hoping to look like Chris? Like, they're clearly selling the idea. Like, to play devil's advocate, I'm sure, you know, there are some good workout in there. I haven't tried this app. I'm not going to. But the whole selling point is, you know, they want to look like Chris. And I can even see myself as a teenager. If I was young saying this, I would totally buy into that. And it's just lame, dude. Like, we know the reason why you put that physique to the next level. And it's not just putting the work, putting the hours, okay? Here's him posting on his Instagram about his trainer. No, what is this? It's stuntman. Bro, come on, get out of here. Everyone is just making fun of them as well in the comments. Like, it's so obviously steroid use. I'm just wondering if they will also provide the specific drug dosages and intervals needed for Hemsworth to look like this. It's fine to live, but let's stop acting like the Marvel heroes aren't juiced to the gills. Thank you. Our second Marvel boy is Kumail, who had a huge transformation. He did this transformation in a year, according to the news articles. What the fuck? Like, even on steroids, that's impressive as hell. Because and anyone transforming in a year, that's a dead giveaway, okay? Like, building muscle takes time. It's a slow process. And I at least understand, you know, you get the role for this superhero thing. They have to fit the part. They need to gain muscle in a really short amount of time. How do you do that? Well, there's one secret sauce, and it's getting steroids to build muscle. I don't know why he looks goofier in the movie. I don't know how that's even possible. Now, after the movie, it looks like he kept it going. Dude, look at this. Get the guy. Look at this. Dude, get the hell out of here. Shut up. Like, stop it. I feel like people also, again, defend this and be like, well, you know, he's got the best trainers in the industry. And he's got probably the best nutrition as well. That's how he's able to pull that off. Yes, but he's also got the guy feeding him the steroids that hit him just right. But let's just talk about these two, okay? I think he got so ripped that even people that know about steroid usage will be like, well, if I had to use steroids to look like this, what's the fucking point? Well, then you're working out for the wrong reason, and that's ridiculous. But anyway, the truth is steroids work incredibly well. Yes, you still have to put in the work, you have to put in the hour, you need to know what to eat. These are essential to growing muscle. But if this guy was natural, and this is what he was able to accomplish in a year, if he then put on steroids on top of this, he wouldn't be able to move. Steroids is so effective that data shows that you grow more muscle, and I didn't even know this, you can grow more muscle by not working out on steroids than someone working out regularly. If you ever want to feel discouraged about working out, hey, keep that one in mind. And I don't want to go into, you know, is it good, is it bad? My whole point about this video is the lack of transparency, and I really do have an issue with it. But I do think it's worth mentioning that the side effects of steroid usage is real, okay? It's not good for you. I don't care what anyone says. And what's the point anyway? I love this tweet summarizing it. Motherfucker doing steroids, not even for a sport, just to be a swole-ass waiter. So even though actors like Kumail isn't necessarily selling any products like Chris Hemsworth is, he is still selling this idea. And as part of Hollywood, the way it works, if you're promoting something, you have to do all this media for it. What he did as part of his promotion is he went to Men's Health, and they did a video showing what's in his gym and his fridge. He talks about drinking beet juice. Guys, you just have to drink beet juice. Are you eating enough protein? That's just what you like. Who are we kidding here? It feels so stupid. It's like they're trying to come up with every reason they can find to hide the fact that they're on steroids. Like, they even go through some sort of electroshock thing. Like, is this a joke? This feels like a comedy sketch. No, I'm not Sarah. I electrocute my biceps. Bro, just own up to it, pussy. Mark Wahlberg. You want to look like Mark Wahlberg? The man's 50, dude. All you have to do is wake up at 4 a.m. That's the secret. Like, I'm not trying to downplay people's hard work. Like, all of these actors would be way more ripped than I am, even without steroids. I just don't like this facade of, I just had to drink, like, these eggs and have to work out really hard, and, like, shut the fuck up. I remember when Robert Pattinson was announced that he was going to be Batman, he made some interview saying that he didn't want to work out to become Batman. Even I had the reaction of like, that's ridiculous. Bro, you're going to be a superhero. You have to work out. Pussy. Come on, Robert. Soy boy. Beta. Now that I understand how the industry works and what the expectations are when you accept these roles, maybe I'm putting words in Robert's mouth. I don't know. If I do, I'm sorry. But the way I understand this now is you obviously can't mention anything about steroids because then all these companies are gonna start calling you and kick you out of their, I don't know. You're not gonna get another acting job. Let's just put it that way. So now when he says, I think if you're working out all the time, you're part of the problem. The way I interpret him saying, I don't want to work out for Batman is, I don't want to do steroids and I don't like the message that that sends to people. That's how I read into that. I don't know. I could be wrong. And I guess that's the thing. Like, I don't know who's right or wrong here. Am I supposed to be mad at Chris and Kumail and all these Marvel people? That after all, they are just giving people what they want, which is seeing these actors transform in cinema. Are we at fault for having these expectations and lashing them out to other people? I don't know what the right answers is. I think it's great that influencers and lifters and anyone being transparent about their usage is great. It takes balls. And a lot of people just will respect you more for it. But people aren't going to be transparent because there are this pressure from companies to keep quiet and make us money, you know? And that's why I think it's important to talk about these things, educate people maybe who aren't even part of these communities, but you still engage with it by just looking at it. It affects your subconsciousness and how you perceive yourself. And you compare yourself, whether you like it or not, to these people. Getting fit takes time. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't compare yourself to these people because they're probably lying to you anyway. That's it. How could the Greeks prove that the atom existed, and what does that have to do with being happy? Watch video to find out. Okay, the Greeks, dopest people that ever lived. They figured out all this stuff for us. Our politics, the sports, math, law, medicine, you name it, baby. But most importantly, philosophy. Thank you, Greek person. As we discussed on this channel before, they even dig into topics like how to be happy. The Stoics talks about this topic a lot. Aristotle pondered about this a lot. Socrates, you know, we benefit so much from the Greeks, but why does it seem like still so many people are unhappy? Bro, if you're sad, just don't be sad. Well, I read Epicurus, The Art of Happiness, and I think it highlights pretty well why so many people are still unhappy to this day. Epicureanism is quite similar to Stoicism in many ways. There's a few determining factors. Don't need to get into the nitty-gritty. This is not an expert essay. I'm doing this video in hope that people will continue their exploration and discover Epicurus and read the book themselves, basically. I was going to say a great way to understand Epicureanism is by just looking at the title. I thought the title was the Science of Happiness. Apparently it's the Art of Happiness. It should be the Science of Happiness. They messed it up. I'm just going to pretend that that's what the book is called. The Science of Happiness. Thank you. Because Epicureanism was using science as a fundamental for everything. God damn it, this has completely ruined my point. By understanding things, they alleviate your fear from them. People feared the gods, for example. They were quite wrathful people back in the ancient Greek. And, Christianity, people fear hell. It's a similar concept. But their view was more agnostic in the sense that the gods don't really interact with us. Don't worry about them, basically. And from the principle of science, therefore, the ancient Greeks explained all these natural phenomena by these amazing stories. Helios, the sun god, being this chariot that carried the sun across the sky, and all these stories to explain these natural phenomena. But the Epicureans didn't believe in this. They understood that there's a way to explain everything. You can explain the heavenly bodies and what they are, and they're not there because of the gods necessarily, or if you see a rainbow, there's a natural way of explaining why it occurs. It's not some it's not some Irish dude hiding a bunch of treasure. In the end of this book, they go through all these natural occurrences and they try and explain them, but they don't necessarily say, oh, we know for sure this is how it is. So even though it isn't great, they don't explain everything perfectly, obviously, that's still what science is. They do their best of trying to explain things from how they observe it. But there's one thing that Epicurus in particular knew for sure, which is the existence of the atom, which I think is so cool. When I heard about this the first time, I was like, what? How did they figure that out? I'm sorry, what? They figured out the atom existed 2,000 years ago? What? So he knew this based on two principles. Number one, that we can all observe is that bodies move. Yeah? Number two is the principle that nothing comes into the existence from nothing. This was a principle that was known throughout at this time by some, at least that upheld it, as far as I understand. And it kind of goes with the whole point that they didn't try and explain natural occurrences as something magical made up by the gods, but rather trying to understand how they come into existence based on other things. They basically understood that for anything to occur, there has to be a reason for it to occur. Or there's an explanation for why it happens. Those are the two things. So these bodies that we observe, we can break down into pieces. Anyone can understand that. But Epicurus knew that this process of breaking down into pieces, it can't go on forever. Because then it would break the law that the bodies would dissolve into nothing eventually, if you repeat this process. So he understood that there has to be one singular, non-compound entity that exists, which is the atom. There you go. Another thing that he believed was that the universe is infinite, which isn't hypothetically false, at least. It's not impossible. So I don't know. I just think it's cool. So they figured out all this scientific stuff. Felix, okay, great. What about it? How do I become happy? Well, so their actual philosophy, Epicureanism philosophy, is technically hedonistic, which means indulging in pleasures, and that's what they value. Now, as it turns out, slander is not a unique concept for our time. It occurred back then as well. And the group of Epicureans were heavily slandered through this principle of hedonism and try to print them as these sort of sex-mongering, orgy-porgy, alcohol drunkards group of people. And that's worked successfully for many, many years until scholars decided, actually, no, there's plenty of evidence to show complete opposite, that this was all fabricated. And in fact, the truth is that they were quite ascetic in the terms of practicing their own self-discipline. So when you say they're technically hedonistic, what that means is that to them, the highest pleasure is a clear mind free from any of pain. Their goal is to achieve pleasure, but also eliminate pain. And they divide, very cleverly, I think, pleasure into three categories. Number one is what we all need, which is a shelter, home, relationships, something that we all sort of depend on, more or less. Number two is things that we want, such as luxuries, sex, alcohol. Much like the Stoic, they say, it's okay to indulge in these things, but practice it in moderation. And considering they were quite ascetic, they understood the dangers of indulging in these things. And then you have the last one, which is things that you want, but they are just bad for you in general, which is power, being famous. And the principle here is that you will never have enough of these things. You will never be satisfied having these things. Very few people go and say, hey, you know what? I have enough money now. Thank you. Jeff Bezos isn't really going, hey, you know what? I got enough fame and power. I'm quite pleased now. No, everyone keeps pursuing these things. At least most people do, because they have no limit. And I would actually argue that these two go in the same category as sex and luxuries, but I'm also very heavily simplifying these things, so take it with a grain of salt. So Epicurus had this garden, which is on the cover, which is quite famous and referenced by a lot of people. I think it was used as this area where you would teach yourself to not be dependent on these luxuries and sort of things. And garden is quite fitting for that. I remember, I think it was Socrates that was pondering of what things are good and what things are bad, kind of similar to Epicurus. And there was this example of a flower being this pure good because you smell it, you enjoy it, and there's no bad consequences for it. But whether you drink alcohol, you might feel good, but afterwards there's a consequence for it. And a lot of Epicurism is knowing what these things are, taking action to avoid or engage with, depending on that. So in a lot of sense, it makes sense the science of happiness in the terms of knowing what things are good for us. There's virtue in knowing, basically. So in that sense, we can take measures in life of not feeling pain later. Maybe you enjoy smoking. Well, we know that causes cancer, so you might want to avoid that. And that's the sort of net positive and net loss that Epicurism is based on trying to compare. You know, is it worth it? Is it worth engaging with these things? If you're practicing asceticism, it's a balance, basically. And the same thing when you're practicing asceticism in self-discipline. You know, if you're gaining more pain from withstanding from things in the long run, obviously, you know, doesn't that kind of feed the whole purpose? Epicurism also focuses a lot on mental pain, and they put that up as worse than physical pain because it happens before, during, and after. So they link that with this might come out a bit out of nowhere, but I did like this passage. As someone who's dealt with a lot of anxiety myself, they sort of use this principle of avoiding mental pain by talking about fear of death, for example. Second, you should accustom yourself to believing that death means nothing to us, since every good and every evil lies in sensation. But death is the privation of sensation. Hence, a correct comprehension of the fact that death means nothing to us makes the mortal aspect of life pleasurable, not by conferring on us a boundless period of time, but by removing the yearnness for deathlessness. There's nothing fearful in living for the person who has really laid hold of the fact that there's nothing fearful in not living. So it is silly for a person to say that he dreads death, not because it will be painful when it arrives, but because it pains him now as a future certainty. For that which makes no trouble for us when it arrives is a meaningless pain when we await it. This, the most horrifying of evils, means nothing to us then, because so long as we are existent, death is not present, and whenever it is present, we are not existent. It is of no concern either to the living or to those who have completed their lives. For the former, it is non-existent, and the latter are themselves non-existent. There was also a passage, I don't remember where it is, but it was talking about life is long enough for someone that lives it well. Wish I could find it. Read the book, it's great. So, you know, since Epicureanism and Stoicism are quite similar, I'm probably still more in the Stoic sort of playfield of ideas that I prefer. Having pain can always be avoided no matter what measures you take, and having that pain be your virtue, I think, is something really powerful. Science is setting us free from pain, but you could also argue that science causes pain, and it creates more of these things that we are dependent on that is necessary in modern society to engage with. When we're talking about the things that we absolutely necessarily need, which is a home, food, and friends, you know, now it seems like you need some form of transport to get around. You need access to the internet. Otherwise, you can't really be a productive member anymore. And sure, we can alleviate the fear of God by understanding things about, you know, the heavenly bodies, but doesn't that also sort of alleviate any form of spirituality that we had with those things? Sure, we understand that the sun is not the sun god Helios carrying it across the sky, but we understand it's just a ball of gas or whatever that we could literally shoot with nuclear missiles if we so damn pleases us. Is there a net loss or a net gain there? I don't know. But Epicureanism is, in a sense, a withdrawal from society, so likely they wouldn't even care to have these sort of things anyway. It's living your life the way you do it, engage in the things that you find positive for yourself, and completely ignore everything that doesn't. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I think that could work for a lot of people. So I recommend the book. Check it out. If you enjoyed, smash a like, subscribe, and you can win $1 billion, which of course you wouldn't want anyway. Am I right? Bye! Thank you. It took me a while to get there. I reviewed his book a few years back without having read any philosophy, and well, let's not talk about that. I actually wanted to make this video because I think you will really like Nietzsche as well. He's a German philosopher born in 1844, and before we dig too much into this, I just want to preface by saying that, I'm not an expert. I'm just making this video to hopefully inspire you guys to dig into his readings as well, because there's so many misconceptions about Nietzsche that sort of makes you wonder if anyone's ever actually read him, as someone who did read him and didn't understand anything. But for me, it was really fun to discover just how wrong I was with all the assumptions that I had about him. The only thing that actually turned out to be right is that he has the most beautiful mustache that probably the world will ever see. Most of you are likely to have heard of Nietzsche already. I think he's just so popular. He's referenced in movies. You probably heard of one of his quotes, most famously, "God is dead and we have killed him." And I think you hear these things and you make assumptions about him. Crazy mustache, weird name, philosopher guy. It led me to believe that Nietzsche was a nihilist, especially since it seemed like teenagers appropriate him as a symbol for thinking that life is pointless, and I like Nietzsche. I'm a nihilist kind of view. Maybe that's just me, but I remember seeing in the movie what was it called? Sunshine something. But what Nietzsche actually stood for was something really beautiful that I think a lot of these teenagers could benefit from, which is his life-affirming philosophy. That's right, Nietzsche wasn't a nihilist. You could argue that he was, because some views that he has could fit that category. But in general, he actively fought against nihilism, that life is pointless. Nietzsche, more than anything, wanted you to say yes to life. And I don't know how things got so twisted. And guys, I don't mean to call you out, okay? But I do stream a lot. And a lot of times when I get questions or, people tell me about their own lives, a common thing seems to be that there's a lack of meaning or a lack of purpose or whatever direction you're going in life. It doesn't feel right. And I feel for you. I really do. This sort of lack of meaning and lack of purpose comes to the conclusion that, like most school of thought, that life is suffering. And Nietzsche, of course, also recognized that life has suffering, but he brilliantly turns this suffering on its head. Nietzsche actually criticized people that wanted to remove suffering, because according to him, suffering is what gives value or meaning to your life. Without pain, life would just be meaningless and absurd. And he believed that the best moments in life comes from suffering. We can all relate to the feeling of joy after undergoing a very difficult task. It's the basic plot resolve out of any movie as well, really. Pain is unavoidable in our lives, so why not give it a purpose? There's obviously a limit to how much suffering you can endure, and that person, by Nietzsche's logic, the person who can endure the greatest amount of suffering is the greatest person, according to Nietzsche. He is a bit harsh here, but I think that's what makes him interesting. It reminded me of my favorite part of one of my favorite novels, which is The Count of Monte Cristo. And it's when the Count says, "There is neither happiness nor misery in the world. There is only the comparison of one state with another, nothing more. He who has felt the deepest grief is best able to experience supreme happiness." And this is coming from the Count who had undergone in the story this immense journey of suffering. Nietzsche has written a vast library of work, and there's a ton of very interesting concepts that maybe you've heard about before, like the Übermensch, the will to power, master and slave morality. But I wanted to keep this simple and focus on the life-affirming philosophy. And my favorite passage from Nietzsche is the eternal recurrence, which is this idea that life is a cyclic thing that has been reoccurring and will continue to reoccur for infinity. This idea of a cyclic time isn't unique to Nietzsche per se. Even the Greeks had an idea of it. And Nietzsche gives this poor attempt to try and explain how it's possible with conservation of energy. But it is interesting how it is, you know, it's not theoretically impossible. We know that with parallel universes now. But it's also kind of besides the point. It's more of a test to see if you're affirming life. And it goes like this. If someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, this life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more. And there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, you are God, and never have I heard anything more divine? I have. And I'm very thankful for that. It's during my wedding when I was dancing with Marcia. I felt as being surrounded by my family. I had this moment of feeling like, you know what, whatever my life turns to, at least I had this moment. But that's not the point of necessarily of the statement. It's to give importance to this life. And it's a good thing to ask yourself, and the way you live life right now and the path you're in, would you want to take that path 100 times more? A lot of times we go down roads that I think a lot of us have this notion that once I do this, then I will be happy, or once I get to this point, then, you know, I will be satisfied. It's sort of a wake-up call for decisions that you make in life, and Nietzsche wants you to recognize life and all its suffering, and at the end of it say, yes, that was life, one more time please, once more. And that's life affirmation, and that's, to me, is the beauty of Nietzsche. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Always appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You thought it was gay, but true relevance never really died. Welcome to the first Undead game! Use any item in your inventory and make memes inside Tuber Simulator. Add some of our patented stickers in there. Stickers are emotions. Memes are emotions. Express your emotions with memes! Share them for likes. Share them for love. Get up for free! And who knows? Maybe I'll review your memes. The greatest honor of all time. Full circle, baby! Download it! Make a meme! We need subtitles on this. Edgar! Wake up! That's right, everybody. Today I'm explaining multiverse theory to my dog. Yeah. Are you awake? Yeah. So, this is not going to be an educational video. Do not take what I say as facts. It's just a way for me to see if I understand it. Then I should at least be able to explain it. Right, Edgar? And I think it's really freaking cool. So hopefully this will spark some interest for other people rather than me saying, okay, this is how it is. Don't do that. Don't listen to me. I'm just explaining to my dog. But, you know, we're all familiar with multiverse theory. We've all heard about it in some sort of sci-fi movie or regular movie in general. They always come up. Everyone knows about it. But I want to understand, how does it actually work? What's the actual idea behind it being theoretically possible? So I found the experience of trying to understand multiverse theory extremely annoying. Because what would happen was new terms that I have no base knowledge of these things, but new terms would always come up while trying to understand something. So I have to look up what that means, and while looking up what that means, another term comes up, and I have to look up what that means, and then when I look up what that means, another term comes up, and then I have to look up what that means, and I'm just getting further and further and further away from actually understanding anything. But that ends now. The goal of this video, it might not be the most perfect explanation, but I want anyone to watch this and try and understand as well. That's my goal. We're gonna keep this simple, baby, and we're gonna keep this crystal clear so even my dumb dog Edgar understands. You are watching this video now, but in the video, if you make it through, you're gonna be like, huh, I get it. I get multiverse theory. That's what we're doing. Now, I said that I got really frustrated, but in reality, a lot of these things that annoyed me at first turn out to be really, really cool concepts and ideas that I actually found really, really interesting. So trying to understand multiverse theory and all that has actually been really, really fun. I love doing this, and this video is more of me being excited and wanting to talk about it, so take it as that. Again, not an instructional video. So, multiverse theory is generally, as far as I understand, divided into 4 levels. So there's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And I don't think there's a specific reason to why they're called levels. It's not like you have to go from one level to another. It's just a way to separate all these different ideas. So we're going to start off with level 1, and I'm going to stop at level 3. But they're amazing, and it's super fascinating. So let's start off with level 1. Level 1 you're probably already familiar with in some sense. It's the first one I have ever heard about. And it's the idea that our universe, or if there's infinite universe or infinite space, since you exist by mere chance, if a space out there is infinite, then by mere probability, sheer probability, there will have to be another one of you eventually out there. It's sort of picturing that our universe is a random structure of particles that just happen to be. And it's just a matter of, okay, well, how far would you have to then travel for the probability of another same set of particles being structured in the same sense? I remember hearing about this multiverse theory in, I don't know if you've seen this movie, The Beach, where Leo is like making kind of, let's see what he says.
I mean, there are infinite worlds out there, you know? Where anything you want to happen does happen.
Richard, you know something? This is just the kind of pretentious bullshit the Americans always say to French girls, so they can sleep with them.
Shut up, mate! It's cool. It's cool, right? It's cool. It's cool to imagine the idea that another version of you is out there. Right, Edgar? It's also kind of hopeful in a way, you know? If things is shit here, at least in another universe, someone else is doing way better off. We can only hope I'm in the good universe, right? You're having a great time, aren't you? Yeah, do you understand? So this is generally seen as the least controversial idea of a multiverse. So picturing space and how big it is something I wasn't really familiar with. Apparently the way we distinguish it seems like I just didn't pay attention in school at all, but apparently the way we distinguish our universe is what we call our observable universe. And it's basically how far light has traveled since Big Bang. Anything beyond that we can't see because light hasn't reached those areas yet, and it spans 42 billion light years. So even though you try and imagine infinite space, to me that makes more sense that the universe is infinite, because if it's finite, then what the f is beyond the edge of the finite? Huh? Is there just a sign that says, hey, space ends here, stop here, can't go further? But I guess in a sense we do have that with our observable universe, but we do imagine that whatever is outside our observable universe is just like space inside our universe. Cool. Great. Max actually did a really cool experiment. Max Tegmark, I think he's the one that categorized multiverse theory into these levels. And he actually did a calculation to see, okay, if we are just random particles structured, how far would we then have to travel to reach another multiverse, an identical parallel universe? Rather, sorry. And he came up with the number 10 to the 10 to the then raised 118. Is that meters? It doesn't sound that far, right? You imagine that 4 times 10 to raise our universe is 4 times 10 to raise 26. That doesn't sound far at all. That's 14 billion light years. You try and imagine that number? You can't. You just can't possibly even picture how far that is. But it is kind of cool that you can imagine how far to travel for another universe. There's a good picture to draw for our observable universe. Moving on. Everyone satisfied with the multi-layer one multiverse theory? Yeah? Random? It's kind of weird to imagine that you exist by sheer probability, right? I don't like the thought that much, to be honest. So, universe big, anything can happen. That's basically your level 1 multiverse. Oh, your tongue is out! Now, are you ready for multiverse level 2? I think this is where it gets really interesting. So level 2 uses this fantastic discovery that I had never heard about. I wonder if now that probably a lot of you who are younger than me are learning about this in school, but it's a cosmic microwave background, which is basically sort of map of our universe. It's the oldest radiation that exists in our universe, and they dated it back to 380,000 years after the Big Bang. So discovering this cosmic microwave background, also it's a great proof for that the Big Bang did happen, even though there are already many things, evidence for it. Okay? We're not here to debate that. But the cosmic microwave background is the sort of thing that just gives a lot of information about our universe. But it also gave us information that sort of makes things difficult to understand Big Bang. You're so cute. Look at you. So while examining the cosmic microwave background, scientists discovered two fatal flaws or big problems that are very perplexing. And the first one is the horizon problem. I don't know. I just think this is so interesting. So if you look at the cosmic microwave background and you look at two opposite ends of it, you're looking at two opposite ends of the universe. And what they realized was that these two different ends of the universe are way too uniform by the decimal to the decimal to the decimal. I don't know how to express it, but they are so uniform that they would have had to been in contact. Mix two fluids together, right? You mix G fuel with powder, eventually it finds a uniform taste. This is the greatest example I've ever done. Can you sit still? I'm trying to explain to you. So this is the horizon problem, but the real problem about this is that to travel in between them, they are so far away that it would take longer to travel between them than the universe have ever existed. So theoretically, it's impossible for these to be that far apart. So how can two pieces of the universe be so uniform alike that they would have to been close at some point and be so far away? Focus. So that's one issue. The other issue is the flatness problem, which I really struggle with, and I think I've learned everything about it, and at the end of the day, all you really have to understand is the universe is really flat. In fact, it's so flat that it's puzzling just how flat it is. That's the flatness problem. And I don't know how much detail I should get into this. It's one of those things where I just went around in circles and like, what does flat mean? How can the universe be flat? I don't really understand any of this. I don't know what the best way to explain it either. There's a bunch... Hello? So, I guess all you need to know, in scientific terms, without complicating things too much, there's something called the density perimeter. It's this omega sign that you see. And it sort of helps us determine what the shape of the universe is. The density perimeter is based on, I think, gravity and mass. The density perimeter is the ratio of the average density of matter and energy in the universe to the critical density. Oh, thank you. I totally understand what that means. To be honest, the math behind it, we're not going to understand, so it doesn't really matter. What you do have to understand is that if this density perimeter is bigger than 1, the universe shape will be a sphere-like. If it's smaller than 1, the shape of the universe will be bent like a struch. I don't know what it's called. And if this is 1, it's flat. It means universe is flat. So I gotta be honest, I'm not 100% sure I understand this. Okay, but they draw this example with triangles, right? If you add up all the angles of the triangle and it's 180 degrees, then that means it's flat, right? If it's bigger or smaller, then that means the universe have these two shapes. And I suppose you can do that with the CMB data of picking points that are very far away in the universe and sort of tell if the angles add up. Does that make sense? I gotta be honest, I'm not entirely sure if that's exactly how they do it, but that makes sense in my head at least. Because things can appear to us as flat, like this picture D here, even though they are a sphere. So we need data that are really far away, and I suppose you can do that with the cosmic microwave background because it maps our universe. But the problem is, I suppose, what they found is that the universe is super flat. What would have been cool if the universe wasn't flat is that we could actually calculate the size because we would know the curvature. And by that logic, you can then calculate the size of the universe. So the thing about this density perimeter is when time passes, it naturally curves. Okay, that's all you need to know really from what I've all said. We have this way of measuring the curve of the universe, and naturally, the more time passes, the more it curves. And if you imagine from the point of Big Bang to the size that the universe is now, the preciseness of if this was completely flat, the preciseness of that in the beginning, from what I understand, just is too precise. It just seems so unlikely that we would find ourselves in this flat universe with the Big Bang in mind, right? I hope I make sense here. I wish I could be like, any questions? Because I don't really get it either, so help me. But I think in reality, all we need to know here is that there's the horizon problem, two different parts of the universe are way too alike, and the flatness problem, which is that the universe is too freaking flat, dude. It's too flat, my dude. So flat, dude. In comes, to explain this, inflation theory. And it proposes that the universe rapidly, I don't know if rapidly even remotely begins to explain just how fast inflation happened. It means that the universe expanded faster than the speed of light, from being the most smallest thing we could ever observe to the size of our observable universe in a matter of a fraction of a second, even fraction of a second. Our universe had this incredible, unbelievable exponential growth in such a small period of time. I had never heard of inflation theory before, and in the beginning it was just really confusing because you never heard about it, right? What the fuck? What is this cosmic inflation shit? Maybe they teach kids this in school now, but here's the cosmic microwave background. Here's where inflation happened. So just a tiny portion of our time span in the universe. Inflation. Imagine instead of the Big Bang, imagine the big... a big... I don't know how to explain it. But I think the cool thing about inflation is that, you know, you're taught that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light in school, right? But it kind of makes sense that space itself can expand as fast as it wants. There's no rules on space being bigger. It's just what objects in space can travel. That is the limitation. So this inflation theory doesn't break any laws of physics and conservation with energy or anything like that. And Alan Guth, who came up with this theory, explains it that we normally look at gravity as some sort of attraction with objects, interstellar objects, you know, attracting and swinging each other around. But gravitation can also be repulsion. So what he says is that the universe was uniform. They had the uniformity before inflation took place, and it was flat before inflation took place, which makes sense. It would make way more sense that in the beginning it was flat anyway. And then from this tiny, tiny universe, this is so weird to think about, it then inflated to the observable universe that we have today. And it sounds sort of fanatical and crazy, and I kind of don't even know if I believe it, to be 100% honest. But there has been evidence of inflation theory with quantum fluctuation ripples or some shit like that. I don't really get it. I'm not getting into that. There's evidence of inflation while monitoring the CMB. Is basically all I'm going to say about it. And it sort of beautifully explains these two problems. Inflation theory also creates the reason why I'm making this video, to talk about multiverse theory. It creates a problem, which is the fact that once inflation starts, or almost all version that explains inflation, eventually leads to that there's no reason that inflation should stop. And here's where I get kind of confused, and I'm going to try my best to explain the way I understand. If anyone want to help me in the comments, I would love it. So from what I gather, is that this gravitational repulsion comes from a certain state of mass. And this mass is unstable, and it can decay randomly, like a radioactive substance or something like that. So it starts decaying, but by the time it has decayed in certain patches, it has already increased in size larger than itself. So this decaying mass is like a local Big Bang, which means that our Big Bang is one out of infinite Big Bangs. Inflation is just Oh, another decay. Big Bang. I love how I'm explaining this. Inflation. Okay. Imagine this shit. Keeps going. Inflation. Local Big Bang. Local. Are you asleep? What is this video? Why did I? Oh God. Okay. Anyway, I think what's cool about inflation or eternal inflation is that it's scientists looking at how universes are created, what happens before. Apparently, this is the level 2 multiverse and how it's made, and the other ones could even not defy our laws of physics, but they could have different laws of physics based on how the universe is created. There's a bunch of details on this that it gets way too complicated for me to understand, but the general principle is that the problem with inflation theory is well accepted and well understood, but if you accept inflation, you also kind of have to accept eternal inflation, and if you accept eternal inflation, since something is eternal and can eventually lead to a Big Bang, that means it's infinite Big Bangs. I read somewhere that Stephen Hawking, like a couple years ago in his one of his last, I didn't really read into it, but I think he was disputing this idea of eternal inflation, and it's still a more controversial piece of multiverse theory than the first one, for example. But to summarize, multiverse level 2, inflation, the big never stop, keep making another Big Bang. That's all you gotta know, baby. You understand? Great. Now we're going to level 3, Edgar, and holy shit. Okay, level 3 blew my fucking mind, okay? It's so weird and so awesome, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it, Edgar. So to understand level 3 multiverse, you have to understand a little bit of quantum physics, which I don't understand. A famous Nobel Prize physicist said that if you think you understand quantum physics, you don't understand quantum physics, which is just a play of making you understand just how weird quantum physics is. But all you need to know, really, is that quantum physics is describing the smallest parts of our universe, atoms, electrons, protons, molecules, and whatnot. Basically what creates everything around us, right? Our building blocks of our universe. And as far as I understand, in quantum physics, you describe things as waves. And in comes this wave function, okay? To me, this is really weird, and I felt like someone just skipped like 50 parts of something. So you're telling me we can't depict an electron as a particle, but we depict it as a wave? What the f does that mean? So this wave function is a mathematical function to describe the probability of where we can find an electron, for example, or a quantum particle. Nothing is precise when you're talking these tiny baby tiny small things. So we have to use this probability wave function, right? That makes sense to me. But what we can do is use this wave function to get fairly accurate results, even though it is probability. But from what I understand is that we don't know if the wave function is real because no one's ever seen it. It's just a mathematical way to describe an electron. And they did an experiment on it that is mentioned apparently all the time, to the point where people are sick of hearing about this experiment. But I totally understand, because this experiment, the double slit experiment, probably the strangest thing I have ever heard about. And I can't believe I've never heard about it. And if you've never heard about it, what a pleasure it is for me to explain it to you, because it's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's so weird. So I actually do remember in school learning about waves and light particles a little bit. So I looked it up. So Thomas Young in the 1800s was trying to determine light. Okay, what is light? Is it a particle? Is it a wave? Apparently there was a whole dispute between Newton and this guy. They butted heads. No, light is a particle. No, light acts like a wave, right? So Thomas Young did an experiment where he shone a light through a slit, and on the back wall of where he shone the light, an interference pattern showed up. And an interference patterns can only really occur if waves are interfering with each other. I don't know how to explain this better than just showing a picture. So you have light waves, they pass through this barrier, and then it's kind of like water waves, I guess. 2 drops in water, they both interfere with each other, and it creates this sort of striped pattern at the wall. You probably know about this in school, because for some reason I remember this in school. But all you really need to know is that the light wave passes through both of these slits. It interferes with each other, and it creates this pattern. And this can only really occur since it's a wave and it passes through both of the slits at the same time. Okay? That's all you need to understand here. So Thomas Young observed this and was like, light, it's waves. Got him, I proved it. Later on, what Einstein realized was that, no, actually, what the fuck? Light can be both particles and waves. I remember learning this. I was like, okay, sure. Think about it. How can something be 2 things at the same time? It makes no fucking sense. So, what these motherfuckers did is they did an experiment on it. And they should never have done this experiment. I'm joking. But it's sort of like testing a paradox. You know, how can things be two things at the same time? And I think that's the thing with quantum physics, is that it just doesn't make sense like that. An electron can be in an excited state and in a low energy state, or whatever it's called, at the same time. Quantum particles can be 2 things at the same time. And that's just a weird thing to try and wrap your head around. So they actually tested this, which I think, I don't know, it just blows my mind. With the double slit experiment. And if you already heard about it, yeah, roll your eyes, whatever, you heard about it 1,000 times, good for you. But basically what they did is I don't know how, because they must have been extremely tiny, right? They did this double slit experiment, but they did it with electrons. And electrons, particle, right? But we describe it as a wave function. So now we're going to find out, what is an electron? Is it a wave? Is it a particle? Because this wave function has been so far an excellent way to describe an electron. But now we will see in reality. So if you picture this double slit experiment, what you imagine will happen when you shoot, let's say these dots aren't electrons, let's say they are a bunch of eggs. You're throwing eggs through 2 slits in a wall, and you expect to find the eggs smashed on the wall in this type of pattern. Not in the middle, because it's covered up in the middle. This pattern makes sense. Throw egg, they hit the wall. Okay. What happened, however, with the electrons is that it created this interference pattern where we actually have eggs in the middle, or electrons rather, which is weird. That shouldn't happen unless electrons act like a wave. So as far as I understand, when the electron hits the wall and when you see it on the wall, that means that the wave function, it has collapsed. So the electron no longer acts like a wave, but has now become a particle. And that's why you see it at the back of the wall. Does that make sense? It's sort of imagining that, ignore these dots here and imagine a wave. It's a wave, electron is a wave, and then it hits the wall, it's a particle. That's the wave function collapsing. Because when they did the test, the electron acts like a wave passing through the thing, otherwise it wouldn't be able to make this pattern. It's a wave, hits the wall, wave function collapses, it's a particle. Does that make sense? I think I explained that pretty well. Yeah. Yeah. So here's what that looked like, right? But what then you could say is, okay, well, maybe they're just shooting, you know, they're... Okay, I'm throwing in just like fucking crazy, or particles. So what you could argue is that, well, the only way for this to happen is if an electron passes through, one electron passes through both the slits at the same time. How can one object be in 2 places at the same time? It don't make sense. It don't make sense. It's dumb. I don't even want to think about it. So the theory was that, okay, well, you're shooting a bunch of electrons through, they're probably interfering with each other, okay? They're not passing through at the same time, you dummy. They're just interfering with each other, creating this pattern. So what they did with this experiment, which is really fucking crazy, is that they shot them really slow, like electron. So there's no way that 2 electrons could interfere with each other. Guess what? The interference pattern still showed up. Boom. Crazy, right? This is what happened. Guess what? It gets so weird. I don't even know how to say it. So what they did was, okay, well, all right, cool. How the fuck does that happen? I'm sure this is how the scientist said it. Let's add an observer. Let's add a light that detects which one of these slits the electron is passing through. so we can understand what the fuck is happening here. How is this electron acting like a wave? We're going to add an observer, and we're finally going to understand how can this electron act like a wave and be a particle at the same time. We're going to have the proof. We're going to get it now. We're going to get that stupid electron. What happened? It's a particle now. You add an observer, the electron acted like a particle. That's just fucking dumb. That's just so dumb. Quantum physics is so fucking dumb. How? So just by adding an observer to an electron, the wave function collapsed as soon as it was observed, as opposed to when it hits the wall. So adding an observer to an electron collapses the wave function. Basically, an electron acts differently depending if it's being observed or not. What? I guess it is a bit of a fallacy to assume that an observer is something passive, because when you're looking at things at such a small level, just by saying, okay, I'm just looking at you, I'm not doing anything, you're still in a way interacting with it by observing with the electron. I think, at least. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that makes sense in my head. When you say an observer to an electron, it kind of makes you go, wait, well, they shouldn't change. I'm just looking at it. What is it, an anime schoolgirl being shy? Come on, what are you? A wave or a particle? I don't get this shit. So, why does the wave function collapse when it's being observed? And there's a lot of theories behind this. And there's probably better ones, and I didn't look into all of them. But the reason I'm making this video is to talk about multiverse theory. And one of the ways to explain, and it, as crazy as it sounds, a way to actually explain why the wave function collapses is to look into multiverse. And it says that quantum physics doesn't apply to just one universe, but many multiverses. The electrons is, to describe the wave function, is in all of these spots at the same time. But once we observe it, we know which universe we are in, and that's when the wave function collapses. So you don't know which universe you are in until you observe it or make the measurement. So each universe has a copy of each particle. Does that make sense? I think it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense. So you probably heard about the Schrödinger cat experiment, where with the exact same principle, where you have a radioactive material that randomly decays. So by probability of quantum physics, the cat inside a box will die or live, depending on this random chance of probability. But we don't know the outcome until it's being observed in the same form of it's sort of a way to put this collapse of the wave function to our scale, where we don't know. It's two things at the same time until we observe it. An electron is a wave and a particle until we observe it. The Schrödinger cat is both alive and dead at the same time, and it's theoretically possible until we observe it. So a way to explain this, and I think it's an easier way to understand multiverse, is that the cat lives in one universe, the cat dies in another universe, and we don't know which universe we are in until we look inside the box. It's the same sort of principle. So this sort of opens up the door that our universe is constantly being split. We're splitting our universes depending on and creating infinite copies of infinite outcomes. And it opens up the idea that anything that is possible within the realms of physics is possible. So there's another universe where I am still the #1 subscribed YouTuber. There's another universe where I'm still making hot dogs like I did how many years ago. There's another universe where I just decided to finish university. I don't know. All these sort of, roadblocks that you can imagine with your own life. Each of these possibilities and each of these universes exist according to the many worlds theory that explains the quantum wave function collapse. 42 minutes. So I will cut it down. I hope I did a good job. I don't think I did, but I tried my best. I find this so fascinating. Dude, why would you want to believe in all this other shit that people make up about, dumb shit, right? There's so much cool stuff that we can theoretically think about our universe. And I think what's fun about this is not just understanding that is possible, but kind of, at least in some matter. Obviously, we don't know the math, I don't, at least. But in some capacity, understanding how it works. To me, this is fascinating, and I just had a lot of fun collecting all this information for myself, and I just wanted to share it with you guys, basically. So that's what this video is. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Smash like, subscribe, I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Profess.
You thought it was dead, but true relevance never really died. Welcome to the first Undead game! Use any item in your inventory and make memes inside Tuber Simulator. Add some of our patented stickers in there. Stickers are emotions. Memes are emotions. Express your emotions with me! Share them for likes. Share them for love. Get them for free! And who knows? Maybe I'll review your memes. The greatest honor of all time. Full circle, baby! Download it! Make a meme!
We need subtitles on this. Book reviews back, baby. Yeah, bet you weren't expecting this. Me neither. I got back into reading some fiction, and I have a couple good recommendations. Yeah. Starting off with The Stranger by Albert Camus, as I like to call him. So I read this. I picked it up randomly, and I was like, this is so good. And I recommended it to my mom, and she's like, no, it's Albert Camus. I'm like, oh, you know him? He's like, oh, he's a famous writer. Everyone knows him apparently, except me. He won the Nobel Prize in literature, so it wasn't just some random book that I found and thought, wow, what a treasure. No one's heard about this one. I feel like this is kind of a book you would read in school, maybe, as well. So maybe some of you are familiar with this novel already. The Stranger follows the story of Marceau, who is this very strange guy. I don't know how to describe him exactly. He just doesn't look at the world in the same lens as other people. He's not evil by any means, but he gets in all kinds of trouble because of it. And it makes it really funny. I'm not sure if I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but to me, the whole concept is really funny. But I don't want to explain it and spoil it. But it starts off with, my mom died today, or yesterday maybe. I don't know. I got a telegram from home. Mother deceased. Funeral tomorrow. Faithfully yours. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe it was yesterday. So you follow along the story of Marceau. He gets involved in a murder. I'm not sure if that's spoiling too much. And all the details of all the events that leads up to before everything that goes down, it all has a purpose in the end, and that's what really, really made me appreciate just how tight this novel is. A lot of times you read books and they can kind of go in minute details of things that doesn't seem important, but it all has a purpose in this novel, which I really, really appreciated when it all comes together. It highlights the absurdity of us trying to find justice, order, and rationale behind our lives. I don't know. It's a short read. It's entertaining. If you haven't read a book in a while and want to get back into it, I think this is a great place to start. I loved it so much. I read his other works, The Plague, as well, which is equally amazing, but I don't want to hear more about plagues. I don't want to hear more about these virus things. No, thank you. I don't know why I went through that, but it's shockingly accurate. Anyhow, check that out as well. Next, I read Dante's Inferno. Yeah, I started this a while ago, but I never finished it. And what a shame that would have been, because this is an amazing book. You probably heard about this as well. Dante's Inferno is quite famous. It has a video game made of it. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but it's a story of a man going through all the layers of hell. Hell is divided into these sections, depending on how bad you were in your life. I think I started reading it, and in the first layer, there's all the philosophers. And I'm like, what is this? Come on. It's an incredible journey, and you really feel like you're part for the ride. The main character goes through hell with a guide, and it's sort of an outside perspective. And he can interact with the people in hell, he can speak to them, understanding their stories, their tragedies of why they're there, what their reaction to being in hell is. This is really interesting and very immersive to go on this journey, literally through hell, starting off with, the lesser crimes, like the philosophers weren't believers or worshippers, I assume, to then the
the final layer where the devil himself chills out. I think Marcel read this because it's an Italian writer, Dante, and whether you are religious or not, if you're interested in this concept of going through hell, I think definitely pick it up. It's really good. Don't quote me on these things. I saw someone make like here's what PewDiePie thinks of this book. It's really good. Cool. Glad I could help. Glad I could contribute. Listen, I'm just saying, it's really good. I'm not a writer, okay? Next up, I read Our Mathematical Universe by Max Tegmark. I love this book. It's so good. It's really good. This book is basically everything in physics that is cool. That's where I learned about the doomsday theory. I never heard about that before, and I just thought, whoa, that's so interesting. He speaks about multi-layer universe, which to me, I was so sure was just a sci-fi concept that has no actual foot in science, but turns out, no, it does. And if you want to explain around it, you have to come up with all these other new rules of physics, which makes it really awkward. So it kind of blew my mind. I had a bit of a Rick and Morty moment reading this. If you're interested in physics or cosmology, this is definitely check this out. Max is a Swedish writer, so maybe I'm a little biased, but did I say? I reviewed his other work, Life 3.0, but I actually like this one even more, which I didn't expect. He explained that he didn't like physics when he was younger because he just thought it was kind of pointless with learning about density and friction. I can understand that. Physics for me was always the subject that I thought was boring, but I always did better in, and I never understood why. This is pointless, but whatever. But I always thought it was interesting because it's learning how our world works, even if it is kind of lame. Ain't nothing lame in this, though. This is all the, like I said, cool things about physics and cosmology. Because Max actually contributed to a lot in cosmology of measuring the cosmic, what was it called, radiation background? CMB. Cosmic microwave background, which I didn't know what it was. The oldest radiation in our universe, a proof for Big Bang. So Max isn't just some random guy interested in this stuff. He's actually renowned in the field, and he's giving these sort of personal details of how these experiments took place and stories he's heard from other scientists, and it's just really fun bonus to read and learn about. I'll definitely make more videos of stuff that I learned in this book because I just find it so fascinating. I almost feel like I'm naive for just like buying into it, but it has an actual bearing in science. And I think that's the whole thing that he talks about, how cosmology used to not being taken seriously because a lot of theories were just so outrageous. But now it actually has a better footing, so to say. Reading a lot of stuff in this book kind of makes me feel like how people felt. I don't know, maybe this is stupid, but back in the day when you learned that the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, you learn these sort of truths about our universe which is kind of daunting. You almost go, no, that can't be right. No way. Other universes? No. Nah. That's too weird. This is a lot of weird stuff in here, which makes it really fun and exciting. Max is also self-admittedly a little bit crazy, and he just goes sicko mode the last chapters, which I really appreciated, about his own theories about what the universe actually is, which I thought, yeah, is really fun. So I should have mentioned this earlier, but what really makes this book so great is the fact that he can explain these really complicated concepts like quantum theory and multi-universe and all that, and you can actually follow along. I'm not sure how much I understood really, but I enjoyed it. You know that tweet that Ninja made? That was so funny. Like, I can't stop thinking about time, alternate realities, infinite universes that is constantly expanding. That's me. I feel you, Ninja. You read this book and you're like, I can't stop. And lastly, love this book. Who the fuck would pick this up? Another random pickup. I've been literally just going on Goodreads, and they've been recommending me some bomb-ass books. This book is... I love it. I love this book. Read this book. It's great. You'll feel great reading it. It's the story of Siddhartha. Siddhartha, I didn't know this, but that was the name of Buddha before he became Buddha. He was Prince Siddhartha. It's the story of his life, basically. He started off as a training monk, I guess you could call it, and he's very successful at it, but he comes to a point where he decides, I don't want to be taught anything else. What I need is experience. So he goes out in life like a normal person would and interacts with relationships. with money and with friendship and the good and bad aspects of life and how he reacts to it. And it sort of comes to a close where it so beautifully encapsulates that, sort of gives you a sense that everything has a purpose in life, whether it's good or bad. I feel like this book could have so easily been one of these books where people say they read and they go, oh, I read Siddhartha, I'm so enlightened now, or something stupid. But that's the whole point of the book, is that you can't get enlightenment from just teaching or just experience or just reaching pleasure or pain. It comes from understanding all these things on our own understanding of these things. At least that's what I think. So saying that would miss the whole point. It's just a lovely story, and I highly recommend it. I recommend all these books. I had a great time reading fiction again. It's been a while since I was into it. I've been so much on the philosophy train that I forgot that sometimes it's good to balance what you read. And it's way easier to recommend these books as well, so I think anyone can pick these up. I would rate them all highly, but if I had to pick some, I would go with these three. Siddhartha, if you want something more spiritual. Stranger, if you haven't read anything in a while and want to get back into reading. And if you want some non-fiction, this is a great book. I got you covered, baby. Book review back. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe to channel. More to come. I upload whatever I want on this channel, so check it out. I upload whatever. I have an amazing fan base that lets me upload whatever I want. Thank you. All right, that's it. See you next time. Profis.
You thought it was gay, but true relevance never really died. Welcome to the first Undead game! Use any item in your inventory and make memes inside Tuber Simulator. Add some of our patented stickers in there. Stickers are emotions. Memes are emotions. Express your emotions with memes! Share them for likes. Share them for love. Get up for free! And who knows? Maybe I'll review your memes. The greatest honor of all time. Full circle, baby! Download it! Make a meme!
We need subtitles on this. Today we're going to calculate the end of the world, our doomsday, with maps. Yeah. Since everyone loves Edgar so much, I brought him along and I'm going to explain it to you. If Edgar can understand, anyone can understand. You better pay attention. Let's use some snazzy colors. So there's two versions of this. There's Leslie's Doom and Carter's Doom. Maybe there's more, I don't know. It kind of blew my mind when I heard about it, because at the end of the day, it's just using probability. And there are obviously papers disputing these two arguments, but there's equal amount of papers disputing the disputations, or I don't know how to say that. So, you know, take it as you will. Let's start off, Edgar. Let's start off with Leslie's Doom. I think that's my favorite. Are you paying attention? Okay, so let's imagine that the total amount of humans is n, large n, excuse my handwriting, and this is the total amount of humans to ever live. We're assuming, for the sake of Leslie's Doom, that we will not live forever. Then we have n, I guess we can call this your birth rank. Not sure entirely if that's the case, but it kind of works for the sake of it. Then, if we picture an interval from 0 to 1, where we want to find out n, that seems impossible, right? How can we possibly know the amount of humans that will ever live? We just don't know that. But we can, with a certain likeliness, calculate how many humans will ever live. So if we assume our fractional position, f, is evenly distributed here. Could be anywhere, baby. If I had to tell you, Edgar, where do you think you live here? I guess we have to calculate with dogs then. I don't want to do that. Where do you think you are? You don't know. You couldn't possibly know. N could be such a large number. So yeah, our fractional position is n divided by n, evenly distributed. But what we can do to make it a little easier... Are you getting bored? To make it a little easier for ourselves, we can use the interval 0.05. Let's say that's here instead. So let's say we're somewhere in between here instead. So f is basically bigger than 0.05. We are basically saying with a 95% certainty that we are not the first 5% of humans to have ever lived. Does that make sense, Edgar? Did I say that right? We are with 95% certainty the last 95% of humans to have ever lived within that group. So basically, same thing. Are you falling asleep? This is interesting, okay? So if we rearrange this, we get that n is 95% likely to be smaller than 20n. And we know, this is where it gets good, Edgar, and we know that 100 billion humans have lived. It's an estimate, but that's what Wikipedia says, and I'm going, this is important. And we know, with 95% certain accuracy, that 20n is bigger than n, the total population that will ever live. And if we multiply that with 100 billion, so we are 95% likely to never exceed, how would you call this number? 2 trillion. Yeah, 2 trillion. To reiterate, we are 95% sure that the human population will never exceed 2 trillion, Edgar. Now, if we imagine that each person lived for 80 years and our human population remains stable at 10 billion, which it currently is. So if we take the remaining amount of humans, let me do this really quick. So this is the remaining amount of humans that have left to be lived. And if we take that times 80, what do we get? The original one used 60, but I think the updated number is 100. So 15,200 years we have left to live, Edgar, with 95% certainty. What do you think of that? Yeah? That's kind of cool that we can calculate our doomsday. That's kind of epic, right? What the fuck am I doing? Edgar, we have one more doomsday scenario to calculate. You want to hear about Carter's doomsday as well? Okay, let's go to Carter's doomsday. It's not as interesting, but it uses a cool thing. So if we move on to Carter's doomsday, what he says, he uses the Bayes theorem, which is a actually really cool probability math equation. It was used historically in World War II, for example, to calculate the likeliness of the amount of tanks that the enemies had in World War II. And let's say you find a tank with the serial number 500, you can then calculate what's the probability of the total amount of tanks that they had. I'm not sure if that's what they calculated exactly, but it's the same principle. And it's also the same principle as if you imagine two boxes. They all have balls inside them that are numbered. One box has 100 balls inside of it, and the other box has 1,000 balls inside of it. Now, if you were to be given, I don't know, let's say a ball with the number 5 on it, and we say that that ball came from one of the boxes, which box do you think is more likely, Edgar, that the ball came from? Well, obviously, the box with less numbers in it, right? That's just simple logic. And we're kind of using the same logic here to calculate whether we are going to get a quick doomsday or a later doomsday. So the probability, this is how you write probability, I've learned, for a quick doomsday, before we know our birth rank. So when you calculate probability, what I've learned is that it matters the probability before we know all the circumstances. So let's say, obviously, if you don't know what your birth rank is, the probability for a quick doomsday and a late doomsday are the same. It's 50-50, baby. And then this is our early birth rank. So let's say that a quick doomsday would mean that we live out our time on Earth. Oh, we can use the number that we got before for that, actually. The late doomsday would mean that we go out in the stars, in the galaxy. We multiply vastly by number, 1,000 times more population will be born. So we have the probability before we know our birth rank for a quick doomsday and a late doomsday. Since we have no clue at this point, they're equal, 50%, okay? Then, obviously, we know our birth rank, it's more or less. We know that we are among the first 100 billion to have ever lived, right, Edgar? We know that for a fact, which means that we are inside here, yeah. That means with our birth rank, early birth rank in mind, the probability for quick doom is 1, and the probability with our birth rank in mind for late doom is 1,000 times less, since it's 1,000 times bigger. So if we wanted to calculate the probability for... You're the worst. Okay, I'm trying to explain this, and I'm already struggling. If you wanted to calculate our probability for a quick doomsday, we can then use Bayes' theorem. So I've just put a picture on it, so you know I'm not fucking about. It basically looks like this, which gives us plus times 1,000, and this becomes 1,000 divided with 1,001, which is basically 99.9% sure that we are gonna get a quick doomsday instead of a late doomsday, according to the circumstances that we just put out. So what did we learn here today, Edgar? That humanity is fucked, but that's okay. What's that, Edgar? So I guess an argument you could use against this is that, well, let's say you're born Norwegian. Oh, there's 5 million Norwegians, and how many? 1.4 billion. So that means you're way likely, really, you should be born Chinese, but you're Norwegian. So I think what we really proved here, once and for all, Edgar, is that statistically, no one should be born Norwegian. What do you think of that? Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye! You thought it was gay, but true relevance never really died. Gamers, I hold before you the cutie pie shaker. It's now available, so I make a cool effect. This is my favorite one so far. Nice job, team. That's something, Finta. These bad boys get sold out quick, so if you want one, don't wait. Link it to the script. And another reason, if you're not sold yet, despite the fact that this is the best cup in the world, they sold out quickly, 30% off if you use code PewDiePie. 30%! If there's ever a time to be like, if you now's the time, gamers. Now. You want to be better at games or what? Can't you tell how good I am at games? It's only valid as long as the supply lasts. Don't be one of these people that wait for the supply to unlast itself. Shaker is $9.99. But also, we got a new PewDiePie tub. That's right. It's Floor Gang flavor now. It's the same flavor as before, but even better. How did we improve the recipe? We changed nothing because you can't improve perfection, gamers. We just changed the package. I drink this every day. I love G Fuel. It's legitimately the best. It tastes good, you hydrate, you epic gamer. What else could you want? What, you're still drinking canned drinks? That's awesome, because we sell those too. I don't know what to tell you. It's a delicious G Fuel flavor, and it's 30% off. Check it out, gamers. Link babimba. Book review. Book review. Why is he wearing headphones? Shut up. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm horribly late. I am so late. I've been busy, okay? I also planned this very, very poorly, okay? We read Epictetus' discourses and selected writings. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? Not many people complained that I was so late, so I assume no one read it. The 5 people that actually did be like, bruh. Can you say Epictetus without giggling like a schoolgirl? It's got epic and tits in it. That's hilarious. I picked this book because it's fairly simple, it's straightforward, and it's a good introduction to Stoic philosophy. There's probably better examples, but this is what I chose. I really, really like this book. It's one of the few books that make me feel fortunate as a... Sounds a bit cringe almost to say, but fortunate as a human to be able to experience. I really mean that. I don't care if it's cringe, actually. Not just for its content, but also the fact that it did survive, which is not to be taken for granted. Earlier works of Stoics, like Chrysippus, didn't survive, and this has been around for 2,000 years, so that's great. It was written by Aaron, who was Epictetus' student, and he wrote down his teacher's words, word for word. And I assumed he just thought, hey, this is epic. I'm gonna write this down. Other people might have some use of this. Fun fact, Aaron also wrote Alexander the Great's autobiography. It's kind of funny how everything in the Greek canon seems to be so connected. I said this before, but and you probably know. Plato learned from Socrates. Aristotle studied in Plato's school. Alexander the Great was taught by Aristotle. It's just... And in this book as well, there's many great anecdotes from Diogenes, which I made a video about as well, which was unexpected and really, really fun. So the more you dwell into it, the more you get out of it. And I really love that. And the reason I brought this up as well is because Stoicism takes its roots or its beginnings around the time of Aristotle's death. And it heavily derives from Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, but I would say the main difference, there are obviously a couple, is that Stoicism is philosophy more as a way of life. I've explained this before, but the general explanation I hear about what Stoicism is, it's become fairly popular recently, is that there are things in life that you can control and there are things in life that you can't control. And whatever you can't control, you shouldn't let bother you. They shouldn't make you feel angry or sad. And I think that's a good example because it's something that most people can relate to already, or you've taken this into practice maybe naturally without even thinking about it. It's easier to cope or deal with things if we recognize, well, this is out of my control. I can't do anything about it. If you miss the bus one day, maybe you think, instead of getting upset about it, you can try and appreciate getting a good walk. Positive thinking, everyone. That's not really Stoicism, but I mean, in a sense, Stoicism is that for everything, which sometimes might seem as a bit extreme, but it's also, in every sense, necessary to be free as an individual, to be truly free, which we'll get into later. I think these smaller examples are good, and if we would let any single thing that doesn't go our way bother us, then we would just live life in constant distress. And according to Epictetus, being angry or feeling sorrow are just not useful emotions, because he says, when did anger, however, ever teach someone to play music or pilot a ship? Do you imagine that anger is going to help teach me the far more complex business of life? Well, it won't. So in the sense that there are things in life that we can and we can't control, the book actually starts off in book 1, Discourses, with concerning what is in our power and what is not. And Epictetus begins to explain that we naturally unbound ourselves to things, bound to these headphones for seemingly no reason, but wanting to cover up my hair. I'm bound to this camera because I needed to film this video. I'm bound to the computer. I'm bound to this desk, this chair. This is where the whole floor gang meme come from. I don't need it technically. But also we bound ourselves to maybe even other people, friends and family and our children. We see them as sort of an extension of ourselves. But according to Epictetus, because we bound ourselves to many things, they depress us and they weigh us down. And he starts off by giving a smaller example. If we want to sail and we look out to the sea and the wind isn't blowing in our favor, we look out to sea and torment ourselves, hoping that the wind will change again. But what really is it to us? It is not in our power to control nature. And these things that we bound ourselves to, we sort of feel a sense of ownership of, but we don't own any of it. You may think you own your house, but at any point, I mean, unlikely, but it could get destroyed. Your friends and family could pass away at any moment, and so can you. Or they could leave, and so can you. And it goes as far as even your own body doesn't belong to you, because as you may control it in a sense, you also can't control it being in perfect health. You can't make it perform exactly as you wish. So from that logic, it doesn't belong to you. And this is easier to see with smaller things. Like, okay, I don't own this book. Sure. But it's important to grasp for everything, not just to avoid sorrow and pain, but also to develop your own personal freedom, which is my favorite part of the book. And a surprising piece that really... Yeah, we'll get into that later. So just because we can't control these things or the outcome of them, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy them or that you can't participate or even influence the world. It's rather recognizing that that's a difficult thing to do, changing people's minds, for example. But I would argue that a Stoic even appreciate, in a sense, things further. because they see them for what they really are, according to its nature. And according to nature is a phrase that you hear a lot of in Stoicism. A Stoic's goal is, after all, to live life according to nature. And to put it simply, this means that you see the world for what it is, and therefore you accept it. You accept age, you accept loss, you accept death, everything from simple to the weather. So on this principle of living according to nature, you might ask then, well, why shouldn't I just live like whatever I please? Why shouldn't I not just fill myself with food or drink or give into any sensational pleasure that I want? Well, that's because we may not control all these other things, but the only thing that we control is our will, and that is what controls our actions. So let's say, for example, crazy example, I enjoy maybe drinking whiskey in the evening. That might satisfy a desire that you have, but ultimately you are bound to that desire then. And according to Epictetus, we should try and eliminate our desires, because otherwise we are bound to them, and otherwise our actions is really the only thing that we can control. In book 1, there's a really good quote. It says, "I must die. Must I then die lamenting? I must be put in chains. Must I then also lament? I must go into exile. Does any man then hinder me from going with smiles and cheerfulness and contentment? Tell me the secret which you possess. I will not, for this is in my power. But I will put you in chains." Man, what are you talking about? Me in chains? You may fetter my leg, but my will, not even Zeus himself can overpower. So, again, whatever is in our own action is what we ultimately have power over, or ownership of. And no one, not even the gods, in a sense, can take that away from us. This is, according to Epictetus, the most supreme gift that we are given as humans, and it's the only thing that we have that examines itself, what it is, and what power it has. And through our will and developing of reason, which we gain when we get older, we see things differently and we act differently because of it. Some people can live life without being disturbed by certain events. Other people struggle more or less. And what action we take through an event is through our opinion of that thing. He gives the example here of Achilles. This then was the cause of Achilles' lamentations. Not the fact that Patroclus died, since other people don't carry on so when a friend or companion dies, but the fact that he chose to lament. So this example is from Homer's Iliad, where Achilles lost his best friend Patroclus. You may have heard of, you probably know Achilles already, and he's famous for being this ultimate warrior, and the only weakness he had was his heel. But I guess you could say that, according to Epictetus, his weakness wasn't his heel, but his opinion that was his fault, because his view on death was not according to nature. And he gives another great quote that sort of ties into that, because I recognize this might seem very harsh or crude to impose on someone's view on death, but he says, "You wish for these things in winter, you are a fool. So if you wish for your son or your friend when it's not allowed to you, you must know that you are wishing for a fig in winter. For such as winter is to a fig, such is every event which happens from the universe to the things which are taken away according to its nature. And further, at the times when you are delighted with a thing, place before yourself the contrary appearances. What harm is it, while you are kissing your child, to say with a lisping voice, 'Tomorrow you will die'? And to a friend also, 'Tomorrow you will go, or I shall, and never shall we see one another again.'" Again, according to Epictetus, anger and sorrow are just emotions that will not help us through life. And it's not to suppress these emotions and sort of hold them in, but it's rather by seeing things for what they are, you accept them instead of trying to fight it or bargain with it. Arguing against nature is something that you do as a child because you haven't yet developed that reason, and only a child would ask for a fig in winter. A Stoic is always aware of death. They sort of live, I guess you could say, near death. So by seeing things according to its nature, that opinion of death might seem heavy or overbearing almost, to be constantly aware of it. But it's also very liberating. Epictetus gives the example of Diogenes as a man who was truly free, because everything he owned he could dispose of and was only temporarily attached to him. He says, if you grabbed him by the leg, he would have given up the leg. If you had seized his entire body, the entire body would have been sacrificed. The same with family, friends, and country. He knew where they had come from whom, and on what terms. So Diogenes knew that these things didn't belong to him, so he was also then free from them, while still being able to enjoy them. If you imagine a free person, you might imagine someone with a lot of wealth, a lot of power. They can do what they want. They can go wherever they want. They can control people. But you could still argue that they are humble to their wealth. Money can give freedom, but they can also bound you to it. And then ultimately, in that same sense, being a slave to it. Because if something were to happen with it, and if you're awake at night worried that something might happen to all the money you have, you then also don't have an opinion according to its nature, and you are also not free from it. Epictetus himself was a slave during his life, so he must have thought about this a lot on the theme of freedom, and I think he knew that his opinion was not a popular one. He says that if you tell someone that they are just as enslaved as someone sold to captivity, don't expect anything but a punch in the nose. And I think it's a reality that we don't like to admit. We prefer to see ourselves as free individuals, even if it might seem like we are, but in general, we are all bound to certain things. So from a Stoic sense, you are not. We sometimes even let our actions be bound to not things, but the opinion that other people have of it. Maybe you picked your job or your school or your partner through opinion. Aren't you a slave to other people's opinion then? So according to Epictetus, you can be a slave, but still be a free man. As long as your actions are free and as long as you're not bound to anything. That's what really makes the difference. And I think that's a hopeful and liberating view on the world, I would say. Life is just full of things that you can't control. But to try and focus on your own views and your own opinions to liberate yourself, there's, to me, a lot of power in that. There are so many great pieces of this book, and I feel like I could just read quote after quote after quote until I just read the whole book. I highly recommend it. It's just filled with so many great parts. I wanted to finish by reading just my favorite bit, which is just a small sentence in the very, very end, because it resonates heavily with me. Let someone point out to me a man who can say, I care only about the things which are my own, the things which are not subject of hindrance, the things which are by nature free. This I hold to be the nature of the good, but let all other things be as they are allowed. I do not concern myself. That's it. Epictetus' Discourse in Selected Writing. Check it out. What did you think of it? Did you read it? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Did you get the same ideas from me that I had, or something completely different? Next week, it will not be next week, but next book, we're going to read Arthur Schopenhauer, The Wisdom of Life. I recently discovered Schopenhauer. He's great, really fun to read, and I think you guys will enjoy him as well if you enjoy philosophy or reading in general. It's a fun one. I like it. He's a goofy guy. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Bye-bye.
How's it going, bros? My name is PewDiePie. Oh my god, PewDiePie ripped. PewDiePie so strong. This has basically been all over any form of social media. Oh my god. It's basically been plastered on my subreddit. They even had to close down the subreddit because people kept posting about it. This isn't the why, however. But 54,000 people want a workout review. So that's what we're going to do today. I wasn't planning to talk about it or make a video like this in a long time, at least, I don't know, 6 months, a year, for me to actually gain some muscle. I'm not ripped, okay? I'm just lean, or what. There's a difference. I feel like I still have a long way to go, but what happened was I was putting up some light outside. I mean, I was challenging ceiling gang. As you can see, my workout routine, 100 tambourine hits a day, 100... Marcia came out and she was like, damn. So she snapped a photo of me, and then we both looked at it like, what the f? Even I was shocked. I hadn't even worked out that day. It's not like I was pumped up or anything. So she shared it on her social media because, you know, it's lame if I share it. And goddamn, people freaked out. Did not expect that. I guess since I've always been very skinny for a very long time, and people always see me that, so you gain any form of muscle and people are like, what? Yeah, this is me before. Yep. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm glad that photo exists. And yeah, this is me now, I guess. At the end of the montage. I need a couple more montages. Come on. I even saw people online debating if I'm using roids or any sort of supplements. It's like, I don't even know what they're talking about. I don't even know what it means. I'm not that strong. And other people are just going like, oh,
oh, he's super rich. He's got like a super good trainer pumping him every day, and he's got like this insane gym at home. He can afford it. So I thought, why don't I just start off by showing what my gym looks like? Welcome, and here's my gym setup. Egger spots me. Thank you very much for doing that. So basically, it's just this, what is it called, bench? It's garbage. It's so bad. It's so wonky. I swear to God, I feel like if I ever die, it's because this thing collapses on me. Half the time, the screws are coming off, and I have to keep screwing them in so it doesn't fall down. Nate, Egger, Nate. These are super nifty. And the way they work is that you can very quickly change each weight that you want. You want 30, 40, 60, 50, 70. It goes up to 90, actually. I have 90 here, that's why. And even 10 without anything. So if I want 30, bam, lift up, ready to go. And that's why I have this wrist protection, because it hits my wrist sometimes. And it hurts a lot, so I got these. I actually recommend it if you're using these. Plus, you feel more badass somehow. I don't know why. It does have a problem, which is that if I want to make a jump, it's a high jump to go from 80 to 90 pounds. That's from 36 kilos to 41, instead of going from 36 kilos to maybe 38 or 39. It takes me a lot longer to jump in weight, basically. That's the problem I have with these. But it saves you a lot of money and a lot of space to not have a whole rack with dumbbells, which would be nice. I should probably get that, but these are cheaper. I also have these, which are good for, it's good for extra grip when you're doing pull exercises. They're okay. They're not that great. It's just very frustrating. Egger, I'm filming. It's just very frustrating when you're trying to hit a weight and you know you can do it, but you're losing grip. I hate that so much, so these help. And that's pretty much it. I put my workout journal here next to all the chemicals. So I write down this is me day one. I was doing flat press 50. I was doing 70. And then I could do, it's not that bad actually. I haven't improved that much. It's just, I hurt my arm recently, so I haven't really, I'm careful what to show here, because sometimes I get angry and I write down a bunch of shit. Do it, pussy! So it's notes for me for the next week. I always go through what I did the previous week. So I'm like, yeah, next time do this, pussy. You wimp. Right arm weak, very compared to left. Yeah, this was 2 weeks ago I hurt my arm. This is the problem with dumbbells, and don't make the mistakes I made. Properly warm up, make the right movements. Because if you get injured, you're out for 3 weeks, at least. It takes that long for the muscles to recover, and it's very easy to get damaged with dumbbells. I also hurt my back from lifting down the dumbbells, which is equally important. So if you're working out with dumbbells, be careful. I'm saying it to myself in the past. It's not worth it to get injured. Just take it slow. But yeah, I think it's cool. I like the idea that anyone can pick up this in their house. It's very small. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And it's fairly cost efficient. If you don't have access to a gym, this is a pretty good base, I would say. Gym is always better, because you're going to have machines and you're not going to hurt yourself like I do, like a fucking idiot. That's my setup tour. I know my setup is fit, and I know I could get more, but I just really like the idea that I can move it anywhere. It feels very liberating to have that kind of setup. And you can do a ton with dumbbells, like I said in the video, so just be careful. That's all. So I've never actually spoken about my workout history or whatever. In 2016, I had never been to a gym before in my entire life, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to properly squat. I didn't know what reps meant. I didn't know what sets meant. But I wanted to try and get in better shape at least. So I kind of forced myself to go to a gym. I was terrified. I had no idea what to expect, and it was just the overconfidence in me just said, okay, you just go in there and just, how hard can it be? You just put up and down weights. Anyone can do that. Don't be me, basically what I was saying. If you've never been to a gym before, ask a friend to introduce you, or even even better, ask one of the personal trainers at the gym. They'll definitely be one, and they'll help you out. I keep seeing the sentiment that people that are maybe overweight or don't feel confident about their body or feel like they're going to be judged or something like that. That just couldn't be further from true. And I got to say, the personal trainers that I worked with have just been the most motivating and supportive people, because that's their job, you know. It's so definitely don't be scared to do that. And to just get started, a lot of gyms will offer one personal trainer for free. So it's 100% worth it. Absolutely. You need to know what you're doing going into a gym. So shortly after I switched gyms and I got started with a personal trainer, which was really good. He taught me how to really push myself, how to work out with dumbbells. Ironically, this is me after going to the gym. You can tell there's some muscle, maybe, I don't know. I think the most strong I was at the time was in this video. You can sort of tell there's some muscle there, but not a lot.
The Alanasa, I think she likes it.
This was really good. The problem was that I didn't have a goal with my exercise. I just sort of went with it, which was a big mistake. And I knew, you know, at the back of my mind, I was working myself to the point where I was throwing up. You know, I was really I wasn't actually throwing up, but when you feel like, oh God, I cannot give anymore, which is common when you start off and you haven't worked out before. But in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way I can maintain this for a longer time, you know? So lo and behold, I got sick. I got a stomach flu that was really bad, and it knocked me out for 2 to 3 weeks. And after that, I just never picked it up again. And any sort of progress that I've gained from those months at the gym, after a year, you know, I was still fit, but most of the gains were gone. And so I decided to myself, okay, I'll just set up a bench. I'll set up some dumbbells at home, and I can just work out from that, you know? And this time, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm just going to be consistent, and I'm not going to overdo it. So I did that for a year, this really measly workout just to be consistent, because, you know, I've been consistent on YouTube, and that's sort of been my success, so that can translate into exercise. And yeah, it just got to a point where I was fed up, and I wanted to really start pushing myself, and I did that 2 months ago, and that's when I really started to notice the big difference that you've seen in the photos today. And this is after reading a lot of books, reading a lot of philosophy. You guys know I'm a fan of Mishima, so if you know Mishima, that's pretty self-explanatory. For those of you who don't know, Mishima was an author that was absolutely ripped. He talked a lot about body and action, which is a message today that seems completely lost. And I read a bunch of other books as well that helped me develop my philosophy around exercise, which seems kind of cringy and like it doesn't match. No, work at it, that's for dummies. Which couldn't be further from the truth. If anything, body and soul are deeply connected, and I wanted them to match, and that's why I really wanted to start pushing myself with my workout. So this time, I had a clear goal, what I was getting into. So I just needed to push myself this time. But how? I don't have a personal trainer anymore. So I sort of became my own personal trainer. I knew which workout that was needed to be done. I just didn't know how to not slack off, because it's easy to slack off when you work out on your own. It's totally possible to work out on your own, but it's always better with a trainer or a friend or with someone else. So I started tracking down my training. I wrote down in a journal, which you saw earlier, my reps, my sets, the weights, and how much rest time I would keep. And I would really try and push myself each time to make sure I was making progress. In retrospect, I don't think that was the most important thing to do. The most important thing is to really do it until you fail. Like you can't push any longer. That should be the goal instead, but it worked out for me. So my workout routine, finally we got to it. I'm sorry for so much talking. So Mondays, I do push exercises. I do chest, heavily on chest. Everyone keeps making fun of my chest in the photo, but it looks better in person. Trust me, it's massive. I got huge titties. And then I finish off with shoulders. I don't remember it in my head, but it's something like that. And then Tuesdays I do leg, squats, deadlifts, yada yada, lunges. And then Wednesday I do pull exercises. Then Thursday I do leg again, and then Friday I finish with a mix of push and pull. I know there's other variations of this sort of workout that are more efficient, and I'm probably going to change my workout pretty soon. But it worked out for me so far. I literally just Googled online like 5-day dumbbell workout. You can probably find it yourself and follow it. So, or maybe I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to try what I did. the most important thing is to really push yourself until you fail. But the next thing, which is very important, and people always say that it's important, but then they just ignore it anyway. But it is equally important, because when you're lifting weight, you're only burning so many calories, no matter how heavy of an exercise. You don't really lose weight when lifting weights, ironically. You have to change your diet if you want to lose body fat. And probably the biggest difference for me was cutting out alcohol, which is something I talked about before. I'd say maybe a year ago, I quit alcohol for the first time. As you guys know, I like my whiskey too much. I like my whiskey too much, which was not healthy. I didn't feel good about it, so I quit alcohol completely, and I did that for a couple months, and I felt, hey, great, you know, I can actually do this. But then afterwards, I just fell back into my old habits, and I felt shitty and terrible about it, like I was slowly killing myself. It's great. So I basically made the same mistake I did with my workout as I did with my eating, or drinking, rather. And there is obviously a lot of calories in drinking. That's not the reason I quit, but it helps to have another reason to quit it. I decided to just cut off hard liquor from my palate. I just realized it's not for me. If other people like it, that's great. No, I'm not doing it. Never again. I do drink maybe like a pint of beer once a week if I'm hanging out with friends online or whatever. I drink socially, basically, is what I'm saying. The Stoicism talk about how it's important to let your spirit loose. And I kind of agree with that. I think the problem was before, when I quit drinking, is that I was too strict on it. I didn't want to be that person in the friend group. And I think this way I'm just going to be able to stick with it. And honestly, quitting drinking, it was hard. It was a habit that I had developed. And like, you probably have some food or some craving that you really feel strongly about. Maybe you don't realize that you're addicted to it, but once you cut it out of your diet, that's when you realize that you are addicted to it. And you sort of, just like you trained yourself to like that food and depend on that food, you have to train yourself to not be dependent on it. And that's really tough in the beginning. But once you get out of it, you gain a whole different perspective. And even me looking back on my old drinking habits, I really look back on it with detest and the shame of my past self. You have to realize that sensational pleasures don't bring happiness. And as soon as you take that first bite, it's already fleeting. It's not going to make you happy. And I feel like there's almost a social idea that you need food to be happy. Oh, I need these food because they make me happy or whatever. Sorry that this video just became me ranting about different topics. Hopefully it is helpful for people to understand my mindset, because I really think mindset is one of the most important things if you want to work out. You can obviously, anyone can pick up working out for a little while, but unless you have the right mindset, you're not going to be able to be consistently pushing yourself for it. One of the best things I've done out of all of these and the change of my life that I'm the most happy about is I looked up how much protein I needed. You can do this as well. I'll link a website down below. So you can put in your weight, you can put in your height, and then you can put in how much you work out, and then it tells you, okay, well, this is roughly what your daily protein intake should be. And mine was just way off. So I started just stuffing myself with a bunch of protein snacks, protein bars, nuts that have a lot of protein. It's not as great, but if you want something savory, it's good. This was life-changing for me because I used to struggle a lot with anger. I talked about actually my Stoicism video about anger. And I had made the habit of being very angry often and very confrontational and aggressive. At first, I liked that part of myself because I thought, oh, this is another sort of image of a man, kind of like whiskey is seen as manly. It's society looks at anger a lot of ways as something manly as well. And I think recognizing these things as just that, and I started meditating on it a lot, and I was able to control my anger much, much better. Stoicism really helped with that as well, but I would still feel it. I would still feel that anger, even though I didn't act on it the same way I used to. I will feel happy and I will feel virtuous by the fact that I wasn't acting on my anger anymore, but I wasn't my happy self that I would normally used to be, as much as I would like to at least. But protein makes you so much fuller, and it doesn't make at least for me, my blood sugar spike as much. So that problem for me, which was a big problem, just completely disappeared just by me trying to eat more protein. So I'm so happy I made that change. It wasn't intentional, but it's just something that just worked out really well for me, I guess. Last thing, working out will not solve all your problems. It will not fix any sort of issues. There's obviously many reasons to work out that are very positive. You'll look better. You'll feel more confident. You'll be more healthy. But these are obviously degenerate reasons to work out. You exercise. You lift weights for Mishima, okay? You lift weights for Homer. You lift weights to escape abstract concepts like time and death. That's the only acceptable reasons. And just lastly, if you feel good about yourself already, there's no shape, whatever size or shape you are, I don't care, all right? If you feel good about yourself, great, excellent. This is not a video to make it like, you have to be like this, or you have to have this mindset to be happy. This is just something that worked for me, and I'm very happy about it. And it's been really motivational as well to see so many support around it. I think that's great, and I really appreciate it. I really feel like gym bros are the most supported people out there. So yeah, this is my progress so far. Maybe in a year I'll make another video more in-depth on my workout once I actually know how to do it properly. I don't want to spread misinformation and stuff like that, but I feel confident in what I said today at least. So yeah, thanks for watching. Brofist.
Hello. Oh, chat's open for everyone. I'll allow it. Just this once. Say what you gotta say. Get it all out your system, mate. Oh wow, you can change it now. They updated it, so now I can put it on only subscribers. That's interesting. Subscriber only chat, as if anyone else has stumbled upon this fucking stream. Although I did see members pop up more when I did that. Kinda sus. Tell me you're not subscribed? Eh? Subscribe right now. Come on. Can we get it? You have to be subscribed at least 20 minutes before you comment. Alright, I'm switching to members. Bye. Skedaddle. Hopefully it'll calm down. It hasn't updated yet. There it is. Oh, and it's equally fast. God damn it, members. What happened to my nose? I wore glasses this morning. That's what happened. And look, I have a unibrow now. Can you see it? Where'd it go? Here it is. Unibrow, so sexy. This is what Marcia see when kissy. Where'd it go? It's a stupid light. We're like, what? Even just a little bit. Unibrow. Nah. It's gone. The fuck do I have here? What is this? I have been outside, you're right. I liked it. I'm a summer boy. Always been. Always has been. So much a summer boy. How do I explain this? So 8 months of the year, I would always just be at home playing video games, doing whatever the fuck, super nerdy. But when summer hits, Chad feeling, so Chris to say, a different side of me come out. I would switch to my more extrovert, I guess, during summer's music too loud, and it was because I had a completely different friend group in my summer plays. And one time, this one girl from my class came to my summer plays, and she started. I feel like I said this, but it was just so. She almost doxed me. She's like, "But Felix is usually kind of private and shy. Here is so different." I'm like, don't rat me out, bitch. You can't tell. Jack wants another bottle flip challenge. Bruh, he's just gonna die. I'm gonna kill him this year. Murder. Straight up. Bang, bang, bang. That's right. Run for your life. We should do a knife flip challenge. No chance. Hell yeah. Alright, we're playing Pewdiepie today. Thought it was fitting since chapter 2 has come out and I never actually finished that online. And it might be fun. It's been a long time. I was camping in UK. Have I not talked about that? Who cares? It was a camping trip, but it was really nice. Anytime I go camping in UK, I'm like, alright, this country is not so bad after all. Okay, fine. But Brighton, I'm sure I picked the worst country city in this country. I can't say this too loud, neighbor might hear. Brighton sucks. It's shit. We kept looking at the weather while we were traveling, and it was so hot and lovely. It was almost like, I don't even feel like I'm in UK now. But we looked at the weather in Brighton. Shit. Every time. So, therefore, I have concluded Brighton shit. It's been done. You're welcome. Sorry, Brightonians. Okay. Epic rant coming. Epic rant, here it is. Reason why Brighton bad, okay? They have lovely buildings everywhere, right? Beautiful architecture, Victorian buildings, amazing. But right next to any building you can find in Brighton that is pretty, you have some cheap ass building, that building what, like the 70s, and it looks like actual dog shit. An eyesore. It's the worst. It just makes you sick looking at it. It's so ugly. And it's always right next to these historical buildings. And it's like, what? Who allowed this? Why do I have to look at this? Because someone else decided to build this. I don't know why it upsets me so much. Second, scaffolding. There's always scaffolding everywhere. Go to Brighton and find one street that doesn't have scaffolding on it. What is up with it? There's a scaffolding conspiracy. There's scaffolding everywhere. You can never even enjoy the buildings because they always have scaffolding on them. It's a conspiracy. I've never seen a country that has so much scaffolding as UK. I hate it. I hate the noise it makes. I hate everything about it. I hate scaffolding. Always scaffolding. Scaffolding. Oh, and another thing. That the shitty buildings that they build, I understand people need housing. Yeah, but they're ugly, okay? Don't have to make them ugly. But they always call them something to match the Victorian nature of the city. So, like, they have the most hideous building that looks like a pile of turd. And then they call it, like, the Royal Court. I'm like, you're not fooling anyone, all right? This is the royal shit. Hate it. I don't like it. You guys don't know what scaffolding is? I know English more than you? First time. See, you're lucky. If you don't know, I can't tell if you're memeing and I'm pronouncing it wrong. Alright, I don't want to sound like a boomer. I could go on, but it bothers me how ugly. But then you go out in the countryside in the UK and a lot of the villages, housing is preserved. And it's beautiful. I love it. Countryside UK, great. Very nice. And somehow no scaffolding everywhere. I don't know how they do it. Don't even get me started on the i360. Alright, I'm ending this. Alright, we're playing Poopty. Hell yeah. I got white hair. I don't, but thank you. It's just the reflection of my hair gel on white lights. Okay? You understand? I'm not turning white hair. I'm 31, okay? It's not happening. My dad has literally not a single gray hair in his hair, and it's not gonna happen to me either, okay? It does get a little blonder during the summer. Told you, summer boy. I saw a 360. Hell yeah. They don't even lit it up. So we have this tower in Brighton that they built using taxpayer money, by the way. Good choice. Thank you. I'm glad I got a say in that. It's supposed to be a tourist attraction where you go up in this fucking glass blob. But the glass is bent, so you can't really see outside without reflections disturbing the view. Half of it is looking out just over the ocean, and half of it is looking out over a beach city. Like, what's there to look at? There's no toilets in it, so once you go up there, you're fucked. It's gray, it's ugly, and they don't even lit it up. You know how they lit up, like, the Paris Eiffel Tower on certain occasions? Oh, cool. They don't do it, because somehow British Airways got involved, so they only lit it up blue and red, because that's the color of the airline. And they can't just, like, oh, it's Pride Month, maybe we can do, like, a rainbow. No, they don't even do that. British Airways homophobes. I'm calling it. Do something fun with it. It's so ugly. Okay. I hate ugly things. There we go. Rent's done. Switch it over. The thing with ugly architecture is that it's just there. And it's always going to be there. And everyone's going to have to look at it. And why don't I get a say in it? Nah. No one asked, hey, Felix, you want to look at that? No. It's just there. Okay. I don't like it. I don't like our ugly architecture. I don't like it. Here's something not ugly. Poop-dee. Hell yeah. It's been a while. Fart game. Let's go. Best game. Okay, let's start the intro here, and then I have my, I'll switch over in a sec.
Very, very deep.
Oh, the voice acting is so good.
Of grounds lived a little worm no one cared about. Poopty was his name. Everyone was always laughing at Poopty because of his farting problem.
Poor Poopty.
Ashamed and humiliated, he dug himself a little hole.
I remember
and
recording
down
this.
a pond of tears. But suddenly, in the hopeless pit, an unexpected stranger appeared.
Hell yeah.
Don't be sad. I'm the mighty Poop Duck. I have come to tell you not to be afraid, little Poopty. Don't withhold your farts. You will give birth to great miracles.
I'm cracking up doing the lines.
Casting dark spells from its butt throne.
Don't like them.
Vicious creatures are walking through the lands. Things are about to change, my tiny hero. But remember, with big poop comes big toilets. Responsibility. Now go poop.
Perfect delivery. Perfect lines. Perfect game. Game's a little quiet. Alright. Glad you left that stinky pit, child. Now eat 3 carrots and read the poop scroll. Alright. So I'm emulating this on a PC. So it's a little awkward to play, but I think it'll do. I don't think... I need 1 more carrot and then we can poop. Have I failed already? Did I miss a carrot? Are you serious? Oh my god. Wait, what? Wait, can I attack? I forgot if I can attack. No, I need to poop first. Holy shit, I played this 2 minutes ago. How did I mess this up? Hold up. Oh, I need a scroll. That's right. Alright, I'm getting ahead of myself. Wow, PewDiePie sounds just like the characters. Warm inside and out, though not as soft as it seems. Good for close-range combat and moving obstacles. Time to trust your gut feeling and bring wonders to life. Press the button. Okay, Poop Duck, I press. This is Diablo music. We went for kind of the same vibe, yeah. It's a really good soundtrack. I Attack the poop attacks the poop. How way running. Poop coin. Clever name. Oh. Okay. Never mind. I was thinking I'd switch over, but we can play a little bit more. So, for those of you who don't know, Poopty is a game that, when did the first one come out? Like 2 years ago? A year ago? That must be 2 years ago. Chapter 2 is out now, that's why we're playing it. It's been rated by some the greatest game of all time. It's made by our lovely Polish team. Amazing people. And it's free to play. I was thinking when I get to chapter 2 that I invite the devs on and they can talk a little bit about the game as well. I think that could be really fun. So the game is free to play, but it's made with the intention that you don't actually have to spend money to complete it. It is possible, but you know, gotta make that dinner or somehow. Is that a sperm? No, it's a worm. Thank you very much. There we go. Oh, he was just about to use a zoo. Vermin in the garden, clear plantation of bucklers. Okay, so here. Hold up, let me just switch over then. So I paid to remove ads and stuff. Don't know if you get ads on an emulated version though. Let's see. Over exit. Main menu, yes. The kidnapping of Edgar. Rescue butt dog Edgar. Oh, that poor little thing. Don't know if I want to rescue him. Here we are in Poop Town. We have Grosswold's grocery. Very nice. As you can see, there's poops, butts, and the references everywhere. I love it. So this is Marzia. Marzia's library. They did Marzia dirty, man. You can buy a scroll pack. Explode fart. Power fart. Health fart. We'll wait with this. Don't think we need it in the beginning. Here's Edgar's bowl. We need to go to the East Gate. There's also gambling. That's right, PewDiePie promotes gambling. A lottery ticket for a magnificent gem is just 30 coins. Feeling lucky? Nah. Nah. Don't gamble, kids. Bad for you. Let's go. Might say look fine. Alright. Alright, no comment. Need 2 poops to cross. Easy. Thank you. Attack my children. So, the carrots and random items are to make poops. And you use the poops to gather more resources for poop. It's like a weird minion controller. That's gonna take a while. Yeah, it is a mobile game. I'm using an Android emulator. I can call them with my butthole. Oh, that's so nasty. I mean, he has a talent. I'll give him that. The poops looks cute. Yeah, Marcia loved the... I remember showing her the poops the first time. They're amazing. New Witcher, yeah. I don't really have to clear out all this stuff, I just kind of feel like it. There we go. A strange duck with an aura of gold visited me in my dream and mentioned you'd come. Take this powerful fart scroll, please. It will save you much crawling and has no use in the wild. Bog speed. Town fart, a gas portal to Poop Town. And back, pure magic with some green peas. Amazing. So for 5 coins, you can make a portal back to town. Alright. I don't think we have to do that now. We can go further. Have you seen the game Swan Chernobyl Unexplored? Ooh, that sounds fun. Monster showed me a cool horror game today. It was called Walk. It was like a short indie Japanese horror game. It looked really cool. I might play that. I think it's only a couple of minutes. And in Minecraft this stream, ooh. But there's a new episode coming up soon. And things get very exciting. I actually found out what's new in the update. They're writing for this game elite here. I agreed. So, I remember Apple removed this. Remember that? They removed it from the store because they thought it was too offensive or something. Like, come on. They corrected it, but still, like, bruh. Alright, let's not do these. Highlight of the night, buttocks horn. This game is amazing. Thank you. Actually works really well on PC, not gonna lie. Using BlueStacks. Play this on the train home from school. Nice. The game starts off with not that many enemies, but it gets progressively more difficult. Here we got some fighting. Go forth, my minions. We might lose some poop here, not gonna lie. No, we're good. We're good. Have I watched Poor Barnes Inside? Yeah, I watched it. I've been listening to the soundtrack. It's really good. I didn't like it at first, but then the more I listened and watched, the more I liked it. Okay, we got Edgar down here. I don't know why I'm going here. There's a lot of secrets and stuff in this game. It's worth looking around. I know I passed by some axolotl in the last video. The Reddit has made their main mission in life to tell me about it. I recorded another video and I found it. Oh, a lot of stuff. All right. A button. Get it? What'd it do? I have to sacrifice one poop to open here. Nice. All right. No, I don't. Okay. Oh god, there's a lot of them. Oh, it's a spawner. Shit. We might lose some poop here. Oh, gotta poop another one. Oh, we lost 2 poops. F's in the chat. Poop out new ones. Go forth, my minions. We gotta kill that green thing as soon as possible. Oh god, they're poisoned. My poops are poisoned. God damn it. Yes, this is a mobile game. Oh god, but they got poisoned too. Oh, excellent. Oh, it's not a spawner, it was a trap, I forgot. Oh well, it's fine. Another poop died. There will be 0 deaths, but not 0 poop deaths. I'll guarantee that. Oh god. Music is very Nordic. Well, yeah, it's like the Diablo style. I'm not sure what Nordic music is, to be honest. It looks like Butters. Yeah, you're right. A little bit. A wee bit like Butters, mate. There's Edgar. We got him. Yeah, the poops are so cute. You kind of feel bad when they die. But then again, they are poops. Okay, we got a big battle coming up. Are we ready? Yes, we are. Go forth, poop. Go, 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 go. Next one. Oh god, the big ones do so much damage. Oh god, oh god. Abort, abort, come back. No! No! Don't come to me! Poop, 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 poop. Come on. Poop, 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 poop. He's gonna die! Go help your brother! Help! Help him! Oh my god. Alright, we got him. 2 more. If they team up, they're strong. Wait, did I lose another one? Oh, for fuck's sake. This poo says Yashi every time he kills anything. Oh, beep, Yashi! Is that what you mean? Because the answer is nah. Oh wait, we got more to clear out over here. This one too, mate. Do I have to kill... How do I get up there? Oh, I can't. I love ads on live streams. Are there ads on this video? No way. What the fuck? YouTube works? I get ads? Get out of here. I like how the poop looks like barrels. Nice detail. Even the cage is the shape of a poop. Alright, you're free, but Edgar. You're free. Woof woof.
Woof woof, it's me, Edgar. Thank you. Thank you for saving me, puppy. I now return, and will reward you in the town.
Let's go a little further. We can get some stuff. Anyone here likes dolphin? Great question, Matthias. Matthias. Might have shown me what sea dolphins look like, and I think it's time to kill them. I'm done with dolphins. They're too ugly to live. I'm sorry, sea dolphins. I'm sorry. Not your fault. Whoa, whoa, what do we got here? Is that it friendly or not? That's friendly. Oh, I don't think I get ads because I'm emulating. Fuck yeah. That's what you get, poop. You're not getting any money out of me. Oh, we need 3 poops here. But we only have 2 poop. What'd it do? Alright, let's remember that. Where's that on the map? There. Okay. Yeah, I got a premium YouTube account. I don't know if I'm actually paying for it or if YouTube just gave it to me. That's how they get you with subscriptions stuff. But it is actually worth it. Got a poop. You mean a beluga? Is that what they were? No, belugas are cute. It wasn't a beluga. Thank you for asking that. Oh, that's a trap. A crab trap. Run, poops, run! Yeah, ain't gonna kill me. Return. Oh, another trap! A crab trap! We're good. That was close. What do you mean sea dolphin? Isn't that just dolphins? No, dolphins that don't live in the ocean, but they live in the sea. They look like these butts, actually. Kind of. Not gonna lie. What? River! Sorry, river. Marcia clarified. River dolphins. Thank you. Did it crash? Oh, fuck. No. No. That's what you get for emulating, I guess. God damn it. Oh, God. Please tell me it's saved, though. I think it did. No, it's not a walrus. A river dolphin. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. It put me back here. And all the monsters respawn. Fuck. Might be good to open a portal and just skedaddle. Let's go back to Edgar. Okay. Fucking dolphins crashed the game, mate. Alright, we got Edgar. Thank you for bringing Edgar back. I bet that evil wizard is behind this. If you have any offal in the future, pay us a visit. Do you have any spare offal? There you go, Eggy. Oh, so delicious. You're welcome. Oh, yeah, give us. Oh, yeah, so yummy. Poop fountain. Should we gamble? Let's go gamble. Come on. Give us something good. Hell yeah. Let's go. So, what's our quest now? Look around. Talk to Necromat in Poop Town. Okay. I guess that's this horrible thing. I sense a sword inside your poop coins. For the last 100 years, a growing hatred has divided the good folks of the grounds. But to keep a butt dog locked in a cage, that is cruelty even by my twisted standards. Who would do such a thing? Maybe the butt elves know. No one knows the ground better than them. Ooh. So here's where you get your skills, that's right. Power of your poops. A freeze for 10 seconds. Pretty good. Poop to get an additional heart. Yeah, let's go with that. Poop to moves faster. Okay, yeah. Poop limit, absolutely. Faster poops. Fuck it, I'm rich. Alright. Find Tombutt, the butt elf. I think this is supposed to be Jacksepticeye. Yeah. Nice. Always the soiling on my heart. Your sister, Marcia Twin Butter. What? Jürgen won! He was like a father to me. I loved him like my son. Oh, Jürgen. Jürgen 2! No, don't look at me like that. I'm sorry, I have to poo. Oh, no. Please do not Google river dolphins. I told you, bro. They gotta go. They had their chance. They had their chance and they ruined it. Fuck you, river dolphins. To the ruins of bro poop. The greatest poop of all. No, this game has nothing to do with poop. What are you talking about? Gotta collect their dirty work. Can I go here? Why can't I? Oh, I gotta ruin that too. Alright, fine. Where's Ken, though? Has he not told you what he's doing? They're endangered? Fuck it, they lived enough. How many millions of years do we need species to be alive, alright? Come on. You had your time, River Dolphin, alright? I'm sure you lived a long time, but now it's over. You're done. You're done. I'm joking, by the way. It's not obvious, but still. Am I? I don't know. They're pink. They're kind of sexy. Alright, now I'm ending this conversation. I'm making another poop. You guys are too gross. So we need to find the butt elves. Was that it? Oh, find Tom Butt the butt elf. We saw him before, though. Diablo reference. You guys see it? So what does this guy sell again? Shrooms being good. We'll see you later. Okay, but I have to go here. Need some more poops? Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know how we missed that on that one. Alright, we cleared out this area. But some respawn. I need to go down here. Oh, is it worth going? I don't know. Already full of hearts, baby. Sudden Google search spike for river dolphins. I need 4 poops? Can I make 4? I think I can. No? Come on. I can. Let's go. 4 poops, gang. Yeah, baby. Rich gang. Poop gang, baby. Let's go. That's kind of cool. You need less if you go from the other end. Did I not grab everything here? I can do it again? Because, oh, it crashed. That's why I didn't. Speaking of crashing, maybe I should save. I think it's down here, maybe? No, it says literally up there. Okay. You got no chains, mate. The game mode is delayed, really? Are you sure? How do you know that? Oh god, I gotta kill these strong ass motherfuckers. I think we lost the poop. I need to upgrade so I can poop faster. Poop limit has been reached. Hold up, map. Oh, we need to go down. Wondering how many people are pooping at the same time. Now we're asking the intellectual questions, Sophie. I'm glad you asked. There has to be a way to calculate this. If everyone poops once a day, and there's 9 billion people on planet, that's a lot of poop, man. Let's just end it at that. That's a lot of poop. There are no poop in the shower references in this game. Thank you very much. Alright, we gotta get past these geezes. Alright, send 1. Return. Just as planned. Send 1. Send 1. Return. Send 1. Return. Can't trap the trap master. My girlfriend has this much poop following her too. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, to be honest. I should play this in the shower. Why? Explain logic. Make no sense. I love the Diablo guitarist combined with farts. Yeah, they really nailed it. Oh, dangerous. Return. Is that a trap? We're going through. We're going through. All in. Oh my god, it was a trap. A double trap. Oh no, poop. I should have learned it into... Go, go, go. Oh, this is terrible. Oh my god, I can't fight him. Oh, trap him, trap him. Come here. Idiot. Dumb. This is how you were supposed to do that. Dumb butt. Yeah, it came out. It's still it's available in iOS. They corrected their mistakes. What if the game actually takes place in Poop Shower Dream? Now you're talking the real lore. Because it is hidden where it takes place. So you're thinking the right way. I see we have some intellectuals in the chat today. Gotta hand it to you. God damn, these are strong. Fuck. What does these do again? You don't have required poop. That does happen sometimes. Behold! Jacksepticeye sock. Let's get it. Alright, we're through. Let's find this butt elf. Oh, trap. Nah. He's gotta be. He's just gotta be. Oh god. Maybe I should learn to the trap. Come back. Come back. Learn to the trap. Ow. I am poisoned now. Good job, Felix. Fuck. The poison is the worst. Go. You can do it. I believe. 4 versus 1. Let's go. Poopcoin does sound like the next script. Well, that'd be great. I'll be rich. To Tomba, perfect. Let's go. Cozy vibe. I like the music. Realize I just sounded like that Bo Burnham skit. The music is great here. Love it. Tomba. Oh, I didn't notice yet. My bad. Hi, I'm Tomba. Alright. I was testing a brand new melodious fart when a nasty green creature tore my score apart. Jackseptic fart. Bring me back my symphony, or I will be in agony. Sob, sob, sob. Tombat Symphony. Find the 3 rows of symphony. Will do, Tombat. Anything to stick it to that ribbon butt. Infart. Infart! What did it all mean? Sometimes when foreigners come to Sweden, we have these signs that say infart, which is basically mean like driveway or like entry. And people think it's hilarious. You fools. Entertained by infarts, so childish. Ah! We're good. What is this? Revan butt infart. Okay. Check septic tank. Hey! Hey, let's go. Let's go. Very good. There's one symphony. We got it. Alright, just gotta get it. I like my own farts, to be honest. Now, why would you share that? I mean, obviously. But why would you? Alright. I'm hungry, dude. Fuck, I just had lunch. I gotta get a snack. Let me park at the infart. Hey! Oh, it's poison. Don't have to fight it. Just let it die. Idiot. Yeah, die slow, painful death.